wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry Annie. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Y'all, welcome and happy new year. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news, pop culture, hot topics, all that good stuff. So, if that is a show for you, definitely stick around because we got a lot of tea to spill today, including we got to talk about the box office, everything that's happening. Avatar officially crossed the $1 billion mark, and it looked like Sydney Sweeney got a hit on her hands. So, we'll get into that. Plus, we got to talk about that Stranger Things finale and how much money it acquired at the box office, because they also released it in theaters. We also got to talk about Netflix and this 17-day window that they're trying to push for movies should they get their hands, well, once the, what is it, I's are dotted and T's is crossed in regards to the contract, when they get it. Also, we got to talk about Simu Liu is endorsing Melissa Barrera to be Wonder Woman. So we'll get into that. We got to talk about the battle of the New Year's Eve shows that were all over the TV and the internet that this past, what was it? Wait, what is it today? Oh, the 4th, January 4th. A couple of days ago. So, who won the war? Was it Ryan Seacrest, or as I like to call him, Ryan Gaycrest, or was it Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper, them being messy? That is that. Plus, Don Lemon is not having a great time because they were talking about them ratings over there was a mess. So we'll get into that and a whole lot more. Plus, there's a story that's coming out that said that CNN is getting tired of Andy Cohen and his drunken his rants or whatever, and they're ready to chop him. So we'll get into that story. Plus, we got to talk about Will Smith and the latest black man. They trying to come at them coming after the black man because that's all y'all look at. Black people and wealth. Y'all don't think about the things that actually people get caught up in. But it may surprise y'all. I may come to Will Smith's defense on this one. So hold on to your wigs when we get into that story. But apparently he's being sued by a violinist for sexual harassment. We'll get into that story. Plus, we got to talk about, speaking of harassment, Stefon Diggs is facing strangulation and assault charges on somebody who was like his private chef or something or another. Plus, we got to talk about Beyonce for once being accused, well, getting their ideas taken from them, whereas vice versa, it used to be that she was the one that was going around taking other people's stuff and passing it off as her own. But she's an innocent on this side because the country people who pay her dust over there and don't see it for black artists coming in and colonizing something they colonized first. Now they want to come over and colonize something that Beyonce was doing during her Super Bowl situation. So we'll get into that. Plus, we got about Jennifer Lopez breaking, doing her residency in Vegas and her clapping back at a lot of the haters who keep telling her to put some damn clothes on. So we'll get into that. Plus, another Finding Prince Charming contestant has passed away. We'll get into the results that came out in regards of what he passed away from. The results have come out, the cause of death. I mean, plus we got to get into this RuPaul's Drag Race recap. Y'all already know when we break it down over here, we're going to do it like we did last year and the year before. I think maybe last year was the first time I officially went in and did it. But yeah, we're definitely gonna break down this whole RuPaul's Drag Race situation, the best looks, the worst looks, and everything else. We even gonna talk about RuPaul's look. So we're gonna get into that and a whole lot more. Plus, we gotta talk about this whole thing that everybody's talking about regarding the timing of Cardi B coming on as the season premiere guest judge and the comparisons between her and Nicki Minaj and all others. Like, yeah, the conversations out there. Out Magazine did a whole article on it. We'll go through it and we'll give our opinion. So before we get to all of that, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and also be sure to smash that notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I was over there I forgot to close one of my windows that's actually got the reverb situation going on. So all right, let me close this because I got way too many windows open. I just realized that. Oh, and we got some people in the chat. Um, let me see. 60 plus 7, 67. What, you don't know how to count? Hey, you said, and Jen Men voting for Gavin Newsom just because of his looks. Child, I'm over it. There's a lot of idiots out here. I had to stop myself from reading some of these Venezuelan. Oh, yeah, there was that too. One of my friends who is Venezuelan, shout out to him, Gio. He lives in Boston, but I'm telling all his business. But Well, how we became friends, we met in the circus, and he was always like the life of the party. He was always silly, but with him, he is Venezuelan. He is happy over the whole Maduro being removed because Maduro is corrupt, which is true. So was our president. But my thing has always been okay. So um the thing with him is that okay, so we take Maduro outright, but y'all keeping the vice president. That's the funny part. So the vice president's not gonna go either. Y'all keeping her. Why? Because she's gonna do the dirt that y'all need her to do. Otherwise, you're gonna threaten to kidnap her or do something crazy to her, which is an MO that a lot of our presidents done. Obama has done it. Bush the second has done it. There have been many presidents over the years that have infiltrated, gone in people's countries acting like you trying to dethrone corrupt politicians only to put people in place that's going to give y'all what y'all want because it's all about colonization at the end of the day. Prime example, there was the president of Yemen who they removed, but first they raped him, stuck a bat up his ass, I believe, and unalived him, and then replaced him with somebody who was basically going to be a little bitch. This is what our country does. We are notorious for being one of the most terroristic organizations on the planet. We all do the whole, I just can't. So everybody's all surprised because everything with Trump, the Trump administration, it's times 10. But our country's, many of presidents have been doing the mess. Okay. So happy New Year to you all. Okay, if y'all gonna come on here and start doing this trolling shit or whatever it is y'all doing, I'm about to block y'all asses. So be easy with the mess. This whole 67 number, like what the fuck is that? Okay, anyway. Um, where are we going? So happy New Year, all that good stuff. Okay, talking about he preacher. I don't well, whoever that is, I don't know what the fuck all that 67 preacher. I don't know. It's Sunday, I understand that, but take that church shit to somebody else's channel. Cause like I don't know, understand none of that mess. So without further ado, let me hit my banner and let's get into topic number one, which is the box office for Avatar 3. So it didn't take long, but apparently, I mean, we all knew it was going to go $1 billion. Now, of course, there's a lot of people out here that say, well, I don't think it's going to do 2 billion. Okay, it grossed $1 billion. Not many people make billions of dollars with a movie, whatever the case is. Avatar is doing its thing. So I guess that means that we're going to be getting Avatar 4. At this point, do we really need another Avatar? But y'all apparently like it. You like all the visuals. You like them telling the same damn story with every freaking movie. And from some reports that I've heard, some people said that they prefer Fire and Ash more than the Way of Water and all the. And I don't know if this is the first one because the first one's always gonna be the first one. That'll always be like the classic. So I don't know. It's a little blasphemous. People be like, "Well, I actually like the third film better than the original." They be looking like at you like you crazy. But if you do like that one more than the original, then that's on you. Everybody has a right to their opinion. But so yeah, it grossed over $1 billion at the global office, and it's only been in theaters for 18 days. So that's awesome. But and also not only that, but it looked like Sydney Sweeney finally got her a hit. Because everybody was out here talking about she's flopping the flop at the flop. But if you're going to do a movie where you're going to be showing your boobs and doing something very based in the world of the Hand that Rocks the Cradle, it's kind of got that Lifetime movie of the week, you know, vibe going or whatever, then those are the type of movies I guess people want to see Sydney Sweeney in. But anyway, let's get into the Hollywood Reporter's story. So they said after a bumpy 2025, the new year's off to a good start at the domestic box office, thanks to a varied number of holiday titles that moviegoers are continuing to feast on before schools and college resume. I almost said resume. And extended work vacations. And indeed, New Year's weekend revenue looks to be a post-pandemic best. In New York, kids go back to school, I believe, on Tuesday, which I'm like, it's kind of weird that y'all doing it too. Why not Monday? But anyway, leading the pack, of course, is James Cameron's Avatar: Fire and Ash, which flew past the 1 billion mark at the global box office on Saturday. Disney in 20th Century will announce full details Sunday morning. It was Sunday evening, but I don't think we have an update on that yet. I may have to check. It's another notch in Cameron's belt, who already directed three of the four biggest movies of all time at the global box office, led by Avatar and followed by Avatar: The Way of Water and Titanic. Avatar 3's global earnings through New Year's Day were a mighty 935 million, including 266 million domestically and 699 overseas. On Friday, it earned another 14 million in North America from 3,832 theaters to finish the day with a domestic total of 280 million. Based on those returns, it should win the weekend with a chart topping 36 million to 38 million as it crosses the 300 million mark in North America, in addition to the $1 billion milestone. So it only grossed 300 here, but I guess it made 700 overseas, which I already said, like, it seems like the overseas demographic tends to appreciate these movies more than America does. We're not a loyal bunch. We like things when it's hot and trendy at the moment, and then we're ready to just move on from the thing when once the next big cute little thing pops up. So it's just like, well, I don't care about this movie. I mean, I liked it then, but now it's been 10 years and I moved on to something else. It's like there's no loyalty with America when it comes to things. I guess the only genre that people are really loyal with his horror films. But stuff like this is like people like what they like, but it seems like the people on in foreign countries tend to appreciate international markets, I should say, appreciate these movies more than we do. Unless it's Lilo and Damn Stitch. Now, which I actually like, by the way, and it's on Disney Plus if you want to check it out. But anyway, so they said as of Saturday, it is one of the three Hollywood movies released in 2025 to cross $1 billion. After fellow Disney titles Lilo and Stitch with 1.38 billion, and record-smashing Zootopia 2, which has grossed 1.51 billion to date since its Thanksgiving release. And Disney was having it rough, especially with Tron, which I believe is coming out in a couple of days on Disney Plus, and a bunch of other films. It seemed like the animated stuff was really what kept. Well, Lilo and Stitch is live action, but it seemed like Zootopia, Lilo and Stitch, and of course with Avatar, we all knew that was going to be the $1 billion film. So, and that is that, and it's still going strong. Zootopia 2 is expected to fall a scant 7% in its sixth weekend to come in second with 18 million or more than three or more from 3,285 cinemas. Now, and said the sequel passed up Frozen 2 with 1.453 billion to become the top grossing title in history of Walt Disney Animated Studios, not adjusted for inflation. It has also become the top grossing Hollywood animated film of all time in China with a running total north of 560 million and its second biggest film of all time behind Avengers Endgame in 2019. Disney has enjoyed a banner year, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Now let's get into the other stuff. So several other titles are also holding in exceptionally well at the New Year's weekend box office. Lionsgate and Paul Feig's well-received sleeper hit The Housemaid could fall just 6% to 14 million for a domestic tally nearing $75 million. The female skewing thriller is a major win for all involved, and particularly Sydney Sweeney. The actress came under fire for an American Eagles jeans campaign. She recently began addressing the issue, which basically might have helped. That was like after the disaster of Christie and all the other films that she had made. They were like, "Oh no, you need to get ahead of this. So get out there, apologize, do what you got to do, start licking boots, sis, because we can't afford another bomb in our hands." And it looked like it worked. Or maybe what it was the like I said before, people don't want to see Sydney Sweeney playing some lesbian boxer. They want to see you out here being a cleaner of somebody's house and doing house items, trying to deal with a crazy lady and all the craziness that ensues in this movie, and you show your boobs or whatever the case is. They want you playing that type of stuff. They want to see you giving Cassie and every. It seemed like because well, if you look, you know Euphoria, you know what I mean. So Marty Supreme is also headed for a fourth place finish this weekend with 11 million to 12 million from 2,887 cinemas. It continues to outpace Sony's Anaconda. Well, that movie looks terrible. I would not want to go see that crap. I'll probably wait until it comes out on streaming or whatever, but Anaconda is not something I'm rushing to go see. And also Song Sung Blue, starring Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson, alongside Angel Studios' faith-based David. Jesus Christ, with those freaking movies. Song Sung Blue boasts the highest audience ranking on Rotten Tomatoes with 98% of any Christmas title playing nationwide. What happened to that movie with there was a movie that came out with this, oh my god, I forgot his name. Will Arnett, I believe. And he plays like he's going through a divorce and he plays like a comedian or something. I think it's called Is This Thing On? I've seen the trailers for that in the movies. That actually looks pretty good. I want to see that. I haven't heard anything about that movie. Did it come out yet? I thought it did, but I haven't heard anything about chart placement or anything. Um, But they said that Anaconda, even though a lot of people hated it, including the critics, will round out the top five, followed by SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants, David and Song Sung Blue, and Wicked for Good is in ninth place, even though you could watch that at home at this point. And I heard the reason why that they rushed it to home video is because it didn't do as well at the box office. But also, a lot of people thought the movie wasn't that good. Like, how do you make the second half of a book that pretty much is like what, maybe 30 minutes at best? How do you stretch that out into a full movie? Well, they tried to do it, and a lot of people was like, "This is trash," and I can't believe I wasted time watching this crap. You could have just added that on and made it a 3-hour film and called it a day instead of splitting it before watching. But it seemed like we saw what y'all was doing Universal. Y'all was trying to be greedy and it backfired. And then there's this other movie that I want to see because January, I already told y'all last year that it is action packed with a lot of horror films. So this past weekend, there's this movie with Daisy Ridley that came out called We Bury the Dead, which I actually want to see. But they said that it may come into 10th place if it can't get much past $2.7 million. So that movie came out, but I didn't go see it. I wanted to go see it, but I was like, it's New Year's. It's around that time. I'm tired. I did not really. I just wasn't up for like being in a movie theater this weekend. Now, this coming week, I forgot there's another movie that's supposed to come out on January 9th. That's a horror film that I want to see. I got to look it up because I can't remember all the time, but I know it's something I want to see. And I know we got 28 years later, the Bone Collector is supposed to be coming out this month. Oh, I know what it is. It's Primate, the one with the monkey that goes crazy. I want to see that movie, and I heard it's really good. So I got to get my ticket because I have a list to see that film. So this movie that I was telling you about, the zombie movie, they said it's playing in 1,172 theaters. It stars Daisy Ridley and premiered at 2025 South by Southwest. The story follows a young married woman who travels from America to Tasmania in hopes of finding her husband alive. The U.S. military botched a nearby weapons test that obliterated the population of Tasmania, creating either a pile of dead bodies or zombies that gradually become more aggressive. Ava's husband, Mitch, had the misfortune of being on a work retreat there at the same time. So basically, it's her going there trying to look for a husband amidst this thing. So she takes up a job. We're going to do a search and rescue type thing. And then Brendan Thwaites, a bunch of other people are in it. So I definitely want to check it out. I don't see this movie doing really all that well at the box office. But I could definitely say, like, maybe when they put it on stream at the end of the month, because January is a long month, so more than likely we'll be getting We Bury the Dead in February at home, and I'll just have to check it out then because there's a lot of stuff coming out in January that's warranting my attention, and I just, from my job and on my schedule and everything, I do not have time to be sitting up in the damn movies to be trying to catch everything. So I gotta pick and choose at my discretion. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Are y'all shocked that Avatar is another $1 billion hit for Disney? We all knew that was going to happen, but I guess at the end of the day, the real conversation will be compared to, will it do Way of Water numbers or surpass that? Because Way of Water did 2 billion at the box office. I don't know if it'll reach that, but only time will tell once we get to, once we see that light at the end of the tunnel. So in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Y'all know this whole time I realized I didn't hit my banner. That was the banner. So I was like, I totally forgot to put it in. It's been a minute. You said you're doing it Thursday. Well, let me know how it is. All right, y'all. Now, speaking of box office, let's get into Stranger Things box office. So, Stranger Things, the franchise, the series, it's all over. We can all move on with our lives. I'm sure they'll be giving us 1,000 more, or trying to attempt to give us more spinoffs, whatever the case is. But until we get to that bridge, let's just focus on the show that we've been focusing on for the past decade. So, Stranger Things, oh, I know what it is. Now I know why. Now I know what's going on. I messed up on this whole situation, which is um I did put it on. The problem is that I got to do my freaking. I got it on for like 10 seconds and didn't realize that I didn't change the thing. But anyway, let's get into it. So, not that. That's not it. Hold on. Because it's like, do I gotta go through all of these and do that? I'm not doing that right now. That's a lot. So let's get back into the thing. So yeah, Netflix and Stranger Things came and went. It was a big hit on the streaming services. The thing crashed again. A lot of people said it crashed. It didn't crash on my end. Well, it's probably because I watched it the next day because like I told you, I had to work the Fish concert in Madison Square Garden, so I didn't get to see it like everybody else did. So I watched it. And funny, it took me 2 days to watch it. I watched the first half up until when 11 killed the big bad Vecna, and then I cut it off. And then the next day I watched the epilogue. I will say this. I enjoyed the epilogue more than I enjoyed the first half of the show. Which I don't know if that's weird to say, but let me know if y'all felt the same way in regards to that because I was just like, yeah, I wasn't really feeling the whole episode. I was really feeling like I liked half of it, and that was the epilogue. And I will say this: I'm not gonna hold you. I did shed a couple of tears, quite a few times with that, especially when we found out that Elle's not dead and all that other stuff, and Mike was telling his story, and they were playing the Dungeons and Dragons, and then I just love the scene with Dustin at the graduation and basically giving the middle finger to the uh the principal and everything. That was cool. And then is it me? But I've been reading this, or maybe I'm reading too much into it. But there were some people that were saying that Nancy came out as a lesbian because there was something that was said during there. So there was like an Easter egg that Nancy might be a lesbian. Maybe that's why she broke up with Charlie Heaton. Well, his character Jonathan. I was saying his real life name, but I'm like, I didn't get that unless maybe I missed it, or maybe y'all just want sapphic romance so damn bad that y'all just be reading too much into shit. So, and then yeah, also the beginning part and everything with Vecna and all that whole setup, it was. I don't know what it is, but it always annoys me. It's like y'all always gotta just take the time to have a full on conversation, like with between 11 and Mike. That whole situation in the mine, and he take and then like telling him he got to move on with his life. I'm like, really? This will be like he's looking dead at her. They're all holding him back with the military, and y'all having a whole 20-minute conversation. Like this is the thing that has always irritated me about Stranger Things. I'm like, y'all doing a whole fucking podcast in the middle of a crazy thing about to go down. And then we supposed to just buy into the mess. And so that was kind of irritating me. But other than that, I will say this. I was worried that it was going to teeter on Game of Thrones finale keys in regard to that. I'm glad it didn't fully go there, but I will say that it was a solid series finale. So let's get into the story regarding that. So, of course, a lot of people also went to go see it in the theater. I did see that Variety did an article where they were talking about like what it was like being in the theater with a lot of the Stranger Things fans and what they reacted to. I didn't get around to reading the article because it was just a lot going on. But if y'all definitely want to check that out, y'all can go over there, I guess, and read it. But so now sources told Deadline that Stranger Things finale cleared well north, sorry, of $25 million, possibly even 30 million in concession cash into movie theaters over its New Year's Eve and New Year's Day play. Well, that's because a lot of people's up there buying the expensive. And I'll tell you, one thing that annoys me about AMC and all these other places, y'all concessions are too expensive. And I understand like working in a movie theater, the way the theaters make money is when y'all buy the popcorn and the drinks and the candy and the merch and all the little popcorn buckets and all the other stuff. But y'all be ODing. Like I should not be paying $30 for chicken tenders and fries and a drink. And I also noticed I'm like, didn't I used to get 5 pieces of chicken tenders? Now they give me 4. When did y'all start when did y'all start deducing, taking away, deducting? When did y'all start doing that with the chicken tenders? Or do they just be, or have y'all not noticed that that's what that was? Because before it used to be 5, back when I worked there, now it's 4. But anyway, so they said that of that figure, 15 million was generated to the number one circuit AMC theaters off an attendance of 753,000. And it's funny how they're considered the number one circuit after John Campion just did a whole story. The other, what was it? maybe last week. I don't remember. But he recently did a story about how the share for AMC is like down to $1. So how y'all still number one when y'all share in the company is so damn low? Maybe that's why. So yeah, so they were talking about comparison. 20th Century Studio Avatar Fire and Ash, the number one grossing film of the season, made a combined 23.7 on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Exhibition couldn't charge for tickets to the Netflix event given the cast contractual terms of residuals. Hence, the streamer and circuits got around this by reserving seats with concession vouchers. At AMC theaters, such concession vouchers cost $20 per seat. At 231 locations, AMC had a bit more than a third of the total theater count showing Stranger Things. AMC estimates that more than half of Stranger Things fans watch the finale in a movie theater do so at an AMC venue. Well, I think because AMC, regardless of how you feel about it, it's more popular, and I think there's more of those around than any other conglomerate. Like I I get it's different in New York because there are Regals around, but I will say this, there are more AMCs that I have access to than Regals. If I go into the city, there's a Regal across the street from my old stomping ground, which I've never stepped foot near once I stopped working there. That's on 42nd Street. There's the one in Times Square. Then there's also one before I even settled down and finally got an A-list pass or subscription, whatever you want to call it. I used to do the Regal on 14th Street in was it Union Square? Yeah, 14th Street, Union Square. There's one over there. I used to go to that one every now and again. That's why I got to see the last Thor movie, where they call it on 4DX, whatever. Hated the experience for that movie, but I want to go back and experience the 4DX thing again. I just didn't like it in for Thor Love and Thunder because that movie was just trash. So where else am I? So, and they said exhibition wants Netflix to commit to theatrical runs more, and the streamer will have contractual obligations to filmmakers once they complete their acquisition of Warner Brothers. Stranger Things finale is something of an olive branch to exhibition and a means for Netflix to experiment and dip their toes in the theatrical business. Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos has waffled in his messaging on theatrical, telling an analyst on an earnings call post the success of K-pop Demon Hunters that Netflix prioritizes their first run movies for the service. Post Netflix firming up its bid for Warner Brothers, Sarandos has changed his tune, telling the media, "There's been a lot of talk about theatrical distribution, so we want to set the record straight. We are 100% committed to releasing Warner Brothers films in theaters with industry standard windows." But they're saying that, but then there's this story that came out from Deadline, and I saw a lot of other people pick that up. Netflix is trying to push for a 17-day window, which would steamroll the theatrical business because the movies go in theaters for the most part, it's 45 days. And that's usually been the case in regards to that. Now, what they're trying to do is this whole 17-day thing. I don't like that because the 17-day thing feels very much like what they were doing when they would put Wake Up Dead Man or any of their other films or Frankenstein so they could get it nominated or the buzz talk for the Oscars or whatever the case is, or any kind of award buzz. But I think in for the Oscars, your movie has to be in theaters in order for it to be considered. So what I don't understand is why would y'all go and try to do a 17-day? Because it feels like that's what y'all was doing with the other movies. I don't like the whole 2-week window thing. Leave it. I mean, we're already used to the whole 45-day thing at this point. I don't even like the idea of the 45-day. I kind of wish you would just push it to like 2 months or maybe 3 months. Like go back to 90 days. And then after that, you put the movie on streaming or whatever the case is. But then again, the way people's attention span is these days, and y'all gotten us used to this post COVID, I just think that people expect that these films come out in like a month and a half, so they just wait it out because a lot of people don't like the movie going experience. A lot of movies going experiences get ruined because people want to be in there, want to be on their phone, they want to be talking, they want to be doing all kinds of stuff. Luckily, as I've been saying before, knock on wood, that I've been going to see movies and people have been relatively respectful. But it could be because I'm going early in the damn morning. But everybody else is like, they go through that whole struggle, but they talking about they have a bad movie going experience. That hasn't really been my experience, but I do feel like now it's becoming a point because I think it was Leonardo DiCaprio that recently said that now people are going to be going to the movies are going to be treated like an old jazz club or something or another, where people aren't going to value movie theaters the way that we value them growing up. And that was because we didn't have social media back then. So we didn't have a lot of options. In order for us to go see certain things, we had to go to the movies. If you wanted to go see a certain film, we didn't have Netflix and all these other things. We had to go to the video store and pick up a film, Blockbuster or your local mom and pop, which I miss those. The mom and pop shops had the better choices of movies than the blockbusters. It's just that I didn't realize that until I got older and when I became more of a cinephile and I became more appreciative of movies, that you didn't I didn't realize how valuable a lot of like the mom and pop video stores were. And when I lived in Brooklyn, we had a lot of really cool mom and pop video stores and stuff. And that was way before we even I think Blockbuster even existed. So we would go up in there, excuse me, and then I would just look at the covers and I would see like how cool these certain movies look. I didn't know what the movie was about, especially if they were scary. I was like, I just bought the cover alone. I'd be like, oh, this looks good. I want to see it. I already told y'all my Chud story, where it was like, I saw the cover and I liked it, and I got my mother to get to rent it, and then literally I didn't even get past the opening sequence when that lady got sucked into the sewer. She was like, "This movie is scary. Turn it off. You too young to be watching that." So I was like a big horror movie kid, even when I was, like little and not even able to understand what all that was. So yeah, I don't like the whole 17-day window. And funny enough, I was gonna make this as my next topic, but since they brought it up in the comment, let's talk about her. So yeah, so we got to talk about this whole Netflix situation in regards to the window and all the other mess. So they also said to finish up the whole Stranger Things, they said that it began its play in theaters at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on New Year's Eve and continued throughout yesterday. Well, I guess back when I did the article was like a couple of days ago. Now Netflix doesn't report box office grosses, well they need to, or for that matter, theater chains concession revenue. Below is AMC CEO Adam Aron's quote. And so they brought up a whole situation. Said a few months ago, we announced that in September 2025, a high level dialogue between AMC and Netflix led to both companies pledging to explore ways to visibly begin working together. This led quickly to AMC showing in many of its theaters a Halloween bring back of Netflix immensely popular K-pop Demon Hunters. It was quite the success. AMC was responsible for more than 35% of the all the attendance for K-pop Demon Hunters that holiday weekend. So the two companies immediately turned their focus to what could come next in their mutual cooperation. Well, here's the thing. Didn't we hear something or other that they didn't believe in K-pop Demon Hunters and a lot of the other K-pop based stuff? So they just threw it on social, like on the streaming service, and then they saw like how popular and how successful it is. Here's the thing, y'all need to learn, particularly in the United States of America, K-pop is huge, not just with the programming, the movies, the shows, all of the stuff, the music. Like I told you, when I'm not doing the MSG and all this other stuff, I work at City Field also. And when we have a lot of concerts, particularly the last 2 years that I've been there, the last season was more. There's been a lot of, with Tomorrow X Together, then they had Blackpink, did 3 nights or 2 nights. I can't remember, but they did a couple of nights, sold out all their shows. A lot of these K-pop kids come over here and perform. They're huge. So, and a lot of the kids spend more. They don't even really eat or whatever. They'll spend a lot of their money on the merch. So what I don't understand is the fact that y'all not realizing how massive this situation is, because these people are in their little whatever, in their little buildings or whatever, and they're looking at numbers and all that other stuff and algorithms and thinking that's going to be what's going to. It's like, no, pay attention. Look at the people. It's like even when I worked at AMC, I would see like the they would act like that, like when Simu Liu all of a sudden had this epiphany talking about, well, the Asian people aren't getting big representation. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, welcome to the club, sir. Black people been saying that shit for years. Now it's because it's happening to y'all. You give a damn. But in addition, why I'm bringing that up is because it's like whenever there will be an Asian foreign film that would come out and they would show it at AMC, the numbers will go through the roof. The amount of people that will come and try to buy tickets and how those theaters will pack every time. Those and the Indian movies, a lot of the Bollywood films, they would blow up too in the theaters. So I never understood like why American conglomerates, a lot of these people, you see how much money these movies bring in, yet y'all still act like these movies don't do gangbusters. So it's just, can y'all get out of your biases and your racism and all that other stuff and look at it? Y'all talk about you like money so damn much. So why don't you look at it that way? And Netflix really needs to think about what they need to do regarding how do we make something like the future, which is a Netflix owning a Warner Brothers, which a lot of people are afraid of. How does that work in today's climate? And people who want to go see these, like, how do you get butts in theaters? And to me, when you look at K-pop Demon Hunters, yeah, it's about a bunch of girls slaying demons or whatever, but they got some good music. And the sing along and everything that was going on with that, that's how you get butts to see. So it has to be sort of like, it can't be intentional. It has to feel like it's organic. So you can't force it either. So I know it's a slippery slope. But you also have to figure out in a way of like, it's got to be event. It's got to be an event type situation to get butts and seats. This whole thing with Adam Aaron, I ain't gonna sit up and read all that because I'm gonna be bored to death, and I don't want to bore y'all with that. But I'm sure if you go to Deadline, whatever, you care enough to want to read his whole thing about his deal and talking with Netflix and all this stuff, you could do that. But in regards to this whole Warner Brothers Discovery Netflix merger with the 82.7 billion and the fact that Paramount is still trying to get their hands on it when y'all need I can't. I'm just tired of talking about that mess. But this 17-day window thing, I don't like it. I already heard that James Gunn was talking about that he's thrilled that Warner Brothers and Netflix, this whole merger is happening. Well, what else is he going to say? That's like, man who has a job at a company is, of course, going to be excited that some other company is going to come in and merge, do whatever. As long as his job is cool, is copacetic and he ain't going to be affected by the mass changes or whatever is going to happen should that we cross that bridge. Of course, he's not going to go against Netflix. What do you think he's going to say? Oh, I think it's a bad idea. It's bad on writers. It's bad on this. It's bad on. Of course, he's going to, give all its praises. So, um, Warner Brothers has been doing. Look, it had a great 2025. Here's to a great, equally as great. Hopefully, fingers crossed. 2026. I don't like this whole 17-day window. I'm hoping that that's not true. Even though a major trade like Deadline is reporting this, stick to the 30 to 45-day theatrical window. You already know that I'm already feeling a way about that. But people are used to it. Leave it. I mean, you probably could get more people used to it by stretching it out a little bit longer. But then I was reading this article that says like um, a lot of times the movies make most of its money in the first 2 weeks. So the first week is always about the FOMO, like the part where you want to be able to see the thing before people go and spoil it. The second week is always the FOMO crew, where it's like, well, it's the FOMO crew, the people who feel like they're missing out on a moment, and then you got those who try to get a ticket the first week because of it's overcrowded, busy, or maybe you're busy with your life. You wait the second week when a lot of the crowd dies down a bit. So they got to figure out how to evolve. But I don't like the fact of when Netflix uses the word evolve because y'all version of evolve ain't necessarily a good thing. So that's the story right now that we have on the Netflix 17-day window thing. And then we also, Stranger Things. Uh Congratulations to y'all in regards of how much money y'all did at the box office. It's got its hardcore fans. A lot of people love the show. It's a global phenomenon. It'll be interesting to see how they can still continue to expand beyond this series. Theme parks and all kinds of other craziness. I'm sure Netflix will probably be cooking up, just especially for this generation that grew up on Stranger Things and loved the show. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What did you guys think of the finale of Stranger Things? Did you catch it in the theater, or did you do like I did and watched it at home? Because I had to work and stuff. I didn't want to see it in the theater, but I just didn't have the time. But I watched it at home, and for the most part, I enjoyed a lot of what it was. And as I said before, honestly, for me, I enjoyed the epilogue, the 40-minute epilogue, more so than I enjoyed that Let's take it down Vecna, because I think probably because I was overly underwhelmed, not overwhelmed, underwhelmed by season 5 and leading up to all of this. It just felt like it just didn't give me what I needed. But that epilogue, how they wrapped everything up, that I felt satisfied with that. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, let's see what the people are saying. I have 6 streams up. Well, I don't know. My YouTube channel started acting a fool. Well, one of the things I need to do is I need to talk to StreamYard is that when I'm creating the headline and all this other stuff, they'll be like, "Oh, you can't use symbols and things in your headline." And I'm like, "What?" First of all, I didn't do a whole symbol situation, so I don't know what you're talking about. And the more I try to correct it, it will create these things, which means like when the show was done, I got to delete all the other windows, which is annoying. And so, yeah, StreamYard, y'all need to get it together. So I'm gonna have to write to them after the show so they can fix that. Because I'm like, I didn't even use a symbol. What the hell are you talking about? And it was the J Lo thing. So then I had to take that out. It created it, and then I had to go and then refit and fix the damn headline for YouTube in post. I had no problem watching it as soon as it hit 8 p.m. My post Stranger Things depression lasted about 2 days before RuPaul's Drag Race season 18 cured it, and I listened to nothing but 80s music and read fan fiction. Funny enough, maybe he was lying because I'm like, everybody talk about that the thing crashed. I'm like, really? And first of all, things should not be crashing in 2025, 6. Well, technically, it came out in 2025 into 2026. So our internet should not be a mess at this point. But a lot of other countries are way ahead of us in regards of its infrastructure and tech and all that other mess. The tech bros and the bro girls, they're all more concerned about just making their money. Stranger Things didn't crash on my end either, and I saw the night it premiered about 8:30, half an hour after it became available. So somebody's lying. So they out there lying. I think they saying all that just because they want to hype it up, man. Oh yeah, the crash. I'm like, for who? Because everybody's saying it didn't. I love the epilogue. I love the happy endings everyone got, especially Will and Steve. Some people are hinting there will be a spinoff revolving Hopper and Joyce moving to Montauk. Um, yeah, because I was thinking, I was like, oh, y'all coming to Long Island? Okay. We'll see if that works. I said these kids can't count. They probably thought that was 5. Don't give Oh, please. Well, we already know that they have a agenda. And then they put out that piece on their page in regards of we serve them. I'm like, no, you don't. You serve that orange fat fuck in the White House who ain't seen his dick since Barron was born. And you said one of the things keeping me away from returning to theater since the 2020 lockdown is hearing the cost of. Well, sometimes I sneak food in. Well, not sometimes, all the time. I sneak stuff in. Every now and again, I'll be like, I'll buy a drink or whatever. But yeah, I don't really eat the concessions and stuff like that. But and I had another friend or whatever. It was like, yeah, I just don't. They don't like going to the movies because of a lot of the guests are turn off. Like a lot of y'all act like y'all ain't got no damn home training. So people rather just sit at home and just wait for it to come out in order. But for me, I don't know. I like movies too much, and then there's certain films where I just feel like I can't just wait weeks until it comes out in order to see it. Like when Scream 7 comes out in less than a month. Um, well, basically it is a month because it's like the wait, what day does it come out? Is it the end of February? I can't remember. Well, look, it comes out next month, and I have to see that opening weekend because a lot of y'all got big damn mouths. So I don't want to have the film ruined. Like the whole finale, especially development of each character, like Joyce, actions showing she had enough. You fuck with the wrong family, showing that on all their yeah, and chopped his head off. I said, "Girl, that's a lot of chopping." Trying to get that whole head off his shoulders. And he said there was a lot of female power too with that. I wonder what kind of conversations, if any, did Natalia Dyer have, not to use the government, Natalia Dyer have with Linda Hamilton about playing a badass female. Was it me or did y'all feel like Linda Hamilton's character was wasted? I don't even remember her. Funny enough, Matthew Modine, because that's the character she took over from, he's always at the Nick games. And they always play his scene from Stranger Things before they introduce him on the Jumbotron and they play the Stranger Things music. So a lot of people, and they always go crazy because a lot of people remember him from the show. So there's also a rumor that 11 is getting a spinoff considering her debatable fate. Only the Duffer Brothers and MBB know her fate. Well, yeah, because Mike told us what he told us, but we don't know if it's true. But as they said at the end, they choose to believe. So they believe whatever they said. So we'll see what happens. And if people care enough to want to watch an 11 spinoff, because to be honest, I really felt like y'all created this character of 11, but y'all just didn't utilize her the way that y'all need to utilize her. Like this girl's got powers. Y'all spend more time neutralizing her, be like, oh, I just want to, I want you to be safe and blah 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 blah. It's like we get that, but she's not like your ordinary kid. So play that up. So that was like my frustration with the show. Was like I felt like y'all were holding her back instead of letting her find her full potential. I'm not saying she need to go full Dark Phoenix, but I'm just saying like y'all should have just nurtured her to be able to get to that place where it's just like, oh, y'all can't mess with her. But then it's like, with this season 5, everything just felt rushed. So it did have a bit of that final season of Game of Thrones vibe, but it didn't fully go there. So I'll give them that. I don't dislike it as much as I dislike that final season. All right, y'all. So now let's get into our next topic since we already got through. We did I combined the other two. So that was like what, 3? All right, let's talk about Shang-Chi star Simu Liu. So now, he's got this new show that's out with Melissa Barrera, and it's on Peacock. I haven't watched it yet. It's called the Copenhagen Test, which I think is doing relatively well for the streamer. But I've heard the show's gotten mixed reviews, so I don't even know if the show is good or not. Maybe I need to just check it out on my own and not just listen to what other people have to say. But there's a lot going on. We got the new season of The Traitors that just dropped, and then they got annoying ass Michael Rappaport up on it. I hope somebody knocked him upside the head on that damn show. But they got him, and they got we got Drag Race. There's a bunch of shows that's pulling for my attention. But anyway, so Simu Liu, who was a part of the MCU, he's endorsing his co-star to go work over there at the DCU. And by DCU, I mean he wants her to play One Woman, One Woman. All the world is waiting for you. That's a TV show. But anyway, so now it says at the end, shout out the comic book movie for this story. So now at the end of 2023, Spyglass Entertainment announced that they had fired lead star Melissa Barrera from Scream 7 as, because of comments she made about the Israel-Hamas conflict. Now everybody's on the bandwagon while she was ahead of the curve from the beginning. And we all have established, I don't need to beat y'all beat you over the head with it, but you already know why I stand on this. I'm still pissed off. As much as I am a Scream fan, I am pissed off at the way that Spyglass reacted in regards to this whole situation regarding Melissa Barrera. I feel like, and that one thing I also hate is when people go and say, why y'all keep asking celebrities for their opinion? Why celebrities always got to give their opinion on things? So what? People can't have an opinion, especially living in the good old United States of America. She can't have an opinion about stuff because people was getting mad at Ethan Hawke because he was talking about this whole situation that's been going on with Donald Trump and all this other mess. So I can't give my opinion, but y'all accept it when it's coming from people y'all like. But then when it comes from other people, then it's like y'all don't want to hear it. So I'm glad that she spoke out and said the thing that she wanted to say in regards of the atrocities of what's happening, like Israel going after Palestine and killing all these brown people for their land and all this other mess. She should have been able to speak out on that because she's noticing the atrocities of the world, and me noticing that and calling out America, that should not be a detriment to me losing my job because I'm saying something that you as a company doesn't like me saying. When I'm not, I mean, technically she is working for the company, but so y'all stand for Zionism? So the knee-jerk reaction was kind of uncalled for. And I know a lot of people are pissed off about it. We still see the discourses on social media where people are looking forward to spoil anything regarding Scream just for the, as a way that they feel like this is going to help their girl, Melissa Barrera. But like I said, instead of y'all sitting up in here worrying about trying to ruin Scream because that franchise ain't going to go no damn where. Instead of doing all of that, support your girl. Support Melissa Barrera. Anything she comes out with, go and see it. Like I told y'all, and I keep having to beat y'all over the head with this. I went to see Abigail in the movies. That movie theater only had like me and 4 other people in it. And it was a big theater. It was an Adobe theater. And it wasn't a lot of us in there, but I went opening night. Opening morning, because I told you I only see movies in the morning. I don't really do night movies. The last time I did a night movie was Kill Bill, A Whole Bloody Affair. So, and that was because that was the only time I was able to see it. And child, that was 4 hours. But I was like, God, this movie is so long. But I loved it because I've always been a Kill Bill fan. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I went to go support Abigail in theaters. Y'all weren't there. So look, Copenhagen Test is out. It's a show. It's getting mixed reviews. Support it if you have Peacock. But in addition to that, Simu is saying that he would love to see uh, Melissa come in as Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman. So now, to finish the rest of the story, it said, given the support Barrera received from fans and her fellow actors, her career hasn't suffered too much of a setback since being dropped from Screen 7. In fact, she remains a fan favorite choice for the role of Wonder Woman in the DCU. The hero is expected to debut, allegedly, in James Gunn's upcoming Superman sequel, Man of Tomorrow. Now, doing the rounds to promote Peacock's The Copenhagen Test alongside Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Ring star Simu Liu, Barrera received her co-star's endorsement to follow Gal Gadot, or as I like to call her, Gal Gadoodoo, as the new Diana Prince. Now that would be the ultimate cackle. See, y'all hate the fact that she spoke out against Israel, but you actually replace her with you replace her with a Zionist. Well, replace the Zionist with the pro-Palestine girl. That would be the ultimate shade, and I'd be here for it. So he said this. He said, James Gunn, anybody else out there, I think she really pushes herself. This is what Lou started by saying, adding, there were a couple of moments during stunt training where I was like, that's Wonder Woman-esque. I don't know who's watching or listening to this interview, but I just think she's a total badass. Well, if you actually saw her in Abigail when there was like a bit of a couple of action sequences in there involving her, she's definitely got what it takes to give the physicality of it all. Now, Lou's comments have quickly spread on social media, and there does appear to be a fair bit of excitement among DC fans surrounding the possibility of Barrera playing the Amazon. Gunn, as y'all know, is no stranger to controversy after resurfaced tweets from several years earlier led to Disney firing him from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and then he was eventually rehired after the backlash ensued from the fandom. So, and there was some old tweets that he had put out there, and people were dragging him over it. And I'm just like, okay, those tweets came out like 20 some odd years ago. Why are we holding people accountable for things that they said long before we knew who the hell they were? And because they're in the most popular thing now you want to hold them accountable. If they had said something like recently and you know better, then we drag them. We don't pick up an old tweet somebody said in 1990. Well, Twitter didn't exist in 98. If we're not gonna pick somebody up, something they said in like 2010 and then post it on social media, or it'd be like, oh, well, we're gonna drag them for it. If they said it yesterday, then I understand. So I don't like that whole idea of people wanting to hold people, like come at people for something they had said 2 decades ago on MySpace. I'm like, go touch grass. So now y'all know last April, Barrera herself weighed in on the One Woman fan cast and said, a friend that told me that he's on Twitter. I haven't been on Twitter in a really long time, but he told me a year ago or something like that. I was like, oh, interesting. I think it's nice because of what the character represents. I think whoever gets the role, I just hope that they can embody the essence of the character, because I think that those movies, whether they're Marvel or DC, their reach is big. This is what she continued by saying. Those artists who get those roles will inevitably get a built-in fan base and have the eyes and ears of so many people. I think that it would be nice if they did something actually positive with the influence that they have, to at least be a good example of the kind of human being that you want to be in the world, instead of just using it for self-serving purposes. So I actually think she might be a good. Look, if she can handle the stunts and all this stuff, I'd like to see her in the part if she could pull it off. But according to My Time to Shine H, another one that's up there with Daniel RPK and all these other ones that come out with scoops, DC Studios is looking at every young hot as an upcoming actress for the new female lead in Man of Tomorrow, which some are perceiving to be Wonder Woman. However, the studio has some specific requirements in that they need to be tall, in her 20s, excuse me, and be able to, they said, and have fighting skills, but you can train people. I don't understand to say and have fighting skills. So would you going to hire somebody from the WWE or whatever? Like, that makes no sense, because what it, did Gal Gadot have, or sorry, Gal Gadot, did she have fighting skill? I mean, besides being in the, the Israeli army, did she have actual fighting skills or whatever? She had to go and train for all that. She had to put on muscle, as much muscle as she could, with them bony ass arms. But and she had to do as much of the stunts that was required. So I don't even think that, excuse me, you have to have fighting skills. You can train for months to get all of that. They said the height requirement is interesting because here's the thing: how many women out there who are good actresses that you could think of off the top of your head that are statuesque? I mean, Charlize Theron immediately comes to mind, but she's too old at this point. The woman is in her 50s. So I can't see them wanting to put Charlize Theron as Wonder Woman. If you're going to go 20s, I don't think there's a lot of girls that could pull that off. Now, everybody look tall on screen anyway. So you can fake making somebody look Amazonian and like tall and statuesque, that sort of thing. I don't feel like tallness has to be a requirement because we don't know what these people look like unless you stand next to them in real life. So, but I do like the idea that they want a younger Wonder Woman because, we do have a lot of older actors that are appearing in the DCU, particularly, we're talking about Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner. They're pretty much older. Also, we got to look at Bruce Wayne in The Brave and the Bold. I think they're going for more older Bruce Wayne. And Damian Wayne, they might age him up a little bit. I don't know if they're going to go exact age in the comic. And also, so yeah, they're saying he might be in his 40s, whatever the case is. So, and David Cornsweet is early 30s, like 32. So, if they want to go for a younger one who's like in mid to late 20s, early 30s, I'm here for it because you want to be able to have an actress who can play that role for a long period of time. I just hope whoever they choose is a good, they're a good actress and they're able to pull it off. My choice still is Adria Arjona, but if they want to go with Melissa Barrera, who's on the right, I definitely would not be mad at that either. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Are you here for? Have you seen the Copenhagen test? And do you think that Melissa Barrera would be a good choice to play Wonder Woman? Well, at the end of the day, it all boils down to what James Gunn is looking for in his DCU. And if you do your audition, which now all they do is self-tape. They don't even do like the whole old school way of bringing people into rooms and reading in front of a bunch of casting folks, which I kind of think that I miss that old way of doing stuff because the self-tape you don't open yourself up for critiques because it's like you're self-taping. So how do I know what these people are looking for except for what's on the sides or whatever the case is? So um like I said, it all boils down to what the DCU and James Gunn is looking for in their one-on-one, what type of story they're trying to tell, what's the tone, all that other stuff. And if she's able to pull that off, then I wouldn't mind seeing her. I like Melissa Barrera as an actress and some of the stuff I've seen her in, and it's mostly been horror-based stuff. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Mm, mm. Um, well, look, I'm glad that we're getting a lot of Madonna stuff. I'm just hoping that we get some new music soon. She said the turn reveal. And you said the Warner Music Group. Is a Madonna songwriter podcast? Masters was unheard of. Well, yeah, the times they haven't changed. And maybe she'd rather just get paid well. So the mermaids in the building. Happy New Year and happy Sunday. It said Gen Z has discovered Britney's Eminem tour. She had an Eminem tour. Wait, what's that? What's the Eminem stand for? Because uh, I draw a blank when it comes to Britney Spears tours. The only one I remember is the Onyx Hotel. Is that what you named yourself after? And you said A viral TikTok with 78,000 likes had the title "More Rare Aesthetic." The biggest pop star in the world goes on a secret 6-date tour under the name M&M. Yeah, where the hell was I when she did that? Because I do not remember that tour. All right, y'all. So now, let's get into some more New Year's news because we did talk about New Year's and all this other stuff. Let's get into this whole thing where with New Year's, you already know comes with the New Year's Rockin' Eve, and then you have Andy Cohen with his signature New Year's CNN thing with Anderson Cooper, which they both made my teeth itch. And there was one video I saw of Andy walking down the street in some sandals. I don't know where he was because I'm like, it was not warm enough for you to not be wearing no jacket. But anyway, he looked disheveled. I saw a lot of people was reading him over saying he had some work done on his face. I don't know. I didn't look. I think he might be on the Ozempic. And by Ozempic, that Venezuelan white powder. If you know what I'm saying, I think you do. But he been on that for years, allegedly. But some people say like he lost a lot of weight or whatever the case is. He may have had some work done. And I know he's a man of a certain age. He's trying to keep that body right and tight, especially when you're trying to compete and get you some young trade out here in these streets. And there was people also that was I saw that was making comments about Ryan Seacrest's appearance too. Talking about he looking a little skinny. It seems like this is this ongoing thing. The more money you get in your account, it's like the more weight people feel like they gotta lose. That ain't gonna be me. Like I would want to maintain my figure of like I like my having a big upper body with like chest and arms and all other stuff. I'm not trying to be bone thin. But then again, I might start sounding like Dave Bautista after a while. It's like I want to be taken more seriously in acting roles, and I can't just be towering over people with how big I am. So I may end up having that conversation over the years. But anyway, so what I didn't know until I ended up watching like seeing the videos on TikTok because I didn't even know he had one. Don Lemon apparently had a New Year's special too with Big Frida, which I did laugh because he pulled a Tate McRae. He was, I guess, zooted out of his mind with these drinks that you see in the picture. And he had the microphone upside down. And it was like, yeah, that would be nice if you turn it around and you be able to talk into it. So he was so drained, realized the microphone was the wrong way. Remember, Tate McRae did the same thing when she was performing and the microphone was upside down. So, says now everybody know you up there lip syncing for your life when you be performing. She wouldn't be the first or the last. So, but of course, with all that being said, Ryan Seacrest yet again takes the cake. The Dick Clark New Year's Rocket Eve is always the big money maker. It's the big ratings juggernaut, and I think it's because of Dick Clark's name being on it, and it's synonymous with in American culture. So that's always going to be the number one go to in regards to the New Year's Day. Me, I was bringing in the New Year with Fish and a lot of their bizarre antics where they had dancing milk cartons, and then we saw a milk carton come down from the sky, and then they had the drummer who wears like this muumuu with circles on it. He was attached to a missile. It was a lot of craziness going on. And I wasn't the one on the drugs. It was a lot of people in there who were. And I'm like, what in the psychedelics is going on with this? But no, nevertheless, the shout out to all the Fish fans. They're a cool bunch. But that's where I spent my New Year's. So I wasn't sitting there watching Andy Cohen and all of them and performative ass slurred English behavior on the TV. But with this, I want to let y'all know what the ratings were. So it said with the Ryan Seacrest, Dick Clark New Year's Rockin' Eve, it garnered 18.8 million viewers during its key 11:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. time slot. Because the number's gonna go up when it's around the time you gotta do the countdown. Although I remember because I had to take multiple breaks during the Fish concert. I was literally that was an 8-hour shift for me. Whenever I would go back in the break room, whenever the TV was on, I was like, the Ryan Seacrest New Year's thing started early. I think it started around 8 o'clock. So that was like a good 4 or 5 hours that show was on. I didn't know they was gonna go that long. But then they said that it's up from last year, 17.9 million viewers. Things aren't looking good for Don Lemon. So now Don Lemon, as you know, well, now you know. Shout out to Rob Shooter for this story, by the way, because he's the one that broke this. They said Don Lemon went into New Year's Eve believing this would be his comeback moment, a chance to prove he could take on the big boys without a network behind him. Instead, insiders say the night ended with quiet disappointment. Broadcast live from New Orleans, Lemon's independent YouTube live stream drew roughly 320,000 viewers. While respectable for the first year digital effort, it fell far short of what Lemon privately expected after years at the center of cable news biggest night, saying, quote, Don really thought this was his moment. This is what a source close to the host tells Rob. He believed he was going head to head with the majors, and that didn't happen. One, I don't know how you would be that delusional to think that you can go head to head with the majors when, in fact, sir, you're on YouTube. YouTube is way different than cable. Cable still has its thing where they can still garner enough people and bring them in and all that other stuff. But for the most part, um, this is your first year of doing your own thing. And the hardcore Don Lemon fans or whatever the case is, they'll come in and they'll check it out and see what it is. I mean, it's the first year. So you have to give yourself the opportunity to grow your thing now that you're no longer, because I remember at one, I guess he would get so zooted over there at CNN, they pretty much like did a whole no alcohol thing for him. So why is it okay that y'all do it to him, but not Andy Cohen? And we're gonna get into the story where all of a sudden now, allegedly, CNN is sick and tired of uh Andy Cohen speaking slurred English, and then you got corny ass Anderson Cooper, that enabler, said, "Oh my, say that, like, saying something controversial." I'm like, this is what y'all call controversial? Y'all are being more annoying, and that's what annoys me is like a lot of these old school centrist corporate people are jumping on this thing where they try to make it seem like, oh, they're being so edgy, oh, they're being so. I'm like, there's nothing edgy about what y'all say. Y'all really think like, who is this edgy for old people? Because those of us who are in the era of social media and internet, y'all not being edgy enough. Yeah, you looking messy and embarrassing, but I'm not really getting like y'all thinking like this is edgy for what? Cable news networks? Okay. Well, if y'all think that's edgy, then I guess y'all still in the era where y'all think Leave It to Damn Beaver is edgy. So what they were saying that is that freed from CNN structure, Lemon leaned into a looser anything goes style, openly drinking on air, reminding viewers that he believes he helped invent the boozy New Year's Eve format. Well, of course, you know it's always black people that bring new shit to the forefront, and certain folks coming in, palm folks coming in, colonize the situation, try to pass it over as their own. They smear a little mayonnaise on it and call it revolutionary. But they can never give what we give because, we always at the forefront of pop culture, the gays and the blacks. So um they said he underestimated how much the platform matters. You don't realize what CNN gives you until it's gone. Well, it's a major network that was backing him, so that didn't really have to go in and do a lot of work. That's like me trying to start a whole New Year's thing. You know how many years you got to build that from the ground up before you get a whole lot of people to come in and do a thing. So I do feel like in a way it's unfair on Don Lemon's part. And if this story turns out to be true, I do think it's crazy how you would think in your first year of doing your own New Year's event on YouTube that you think that you could compete with Andy Cohen and Ryan Seacrest over there at CNN when they've had years of all of this doing that show together. We already know the backstory about the whole Kathy Griffin thing, and I still windmill on them for that. And that's why I don't even support them over there because of on the strength of Kathy Griffin and that whole drama that went down. Because they threw her under the bus because of the whole Trump head thing. But you got to take a couple of years. Maybe the numbers will go up next year. And I feel like that's will be where the comparison is. Let's wait until the next year numbers to see if it goes up slightly, and then we'll revisit this conversation. So they were saying this wasn't supposed to be a soft launch. Dawn thought he'd shake things up. Now, publicly, Lemon insisted he was having the best time of his life, telling viewers no one is having more effing fun than us. Privately, sources say the numbers told a different story. Well, sir, if you keep having to say nobody's having more effing fun than us. We having a good old like if you have to continuously push that, then there's a deep rooted sense of insecurity there, and nobody's gonna believe you after now they're looking at okay, you doing too much because that's the same thing I would say about Discord Adams fishing for a damn compliment, desperately. I'm sorry, fishing for a compliment from Cardi B, and I'll bring that up later on. We get into the drag race stuff on did you like my outfit? Would you wear my outfit? Like when you was doing, I was like, okay, girl, you doing too much. And I'll get into my overall thoughts of her look when we get around to it. So Yeah, so they said that New Year's wasn't a victory lap, it was a reality check. So if this turns out to be true, he got his reality check. But like I said, let's just wait until his second annual New Year's in New Orleans special and how that goes. I didn't get to see it, like I said, because I was working. Um Fish. So I didn't get to see it. So I don't know how it was. The Fish concert and everything was more, it was more lit. And so was my check when it comes in this week. So um in addition to that, so that's cute or whatever that Andy Cohen and them, I guess, beat him. But of course, you got the CNN machine behind you. So yeah, there's always going to be people that's going to go to that and don't particularly want a little more edge that they're not going to get from ABC and Ryan Seacrest and all this stuff. I still didn't even see the Robin performance, even though she did 2 nights in New York. And then you have people on social media talking about Americans don't even know who Robin is. Y'all really think that a lot of us is out here is dumb? Like we don't know music or anything. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a great amount of Americans that are out there where the buses don't run and don't got a lot of brain cells to rub together to formulate an intelligent sentence. However, we do be on our shit when it comes to certain artists, especially ones that we have that's on. Like I've been listening to Robin since her "Show Me Love" days. What do y'all since Robin is here? So don't play in my face with that. But then again, I'm a music connoisseur, so of course I would know who she is. So now to get into the Andy Cohen and subside, where they talking about that, oh yeah, he beat Don Lemon on YouTube, blah blah blah. Blah. I'm like, whatever. First of all, YouTube numbers and CNN completely different. Now, if y'all was streaming on live on the CNN YouTube channel, then maybe we can compare the numbers. But to get into this other thing, who knows? Maybe they're going to be fishing for some new people because according to Rob Shooter again, he said that Andy Cohen's wild antics alongside Anderson Cooper for CNN's New Year's Eve broadcast. According to insiders, they're claiming that network executives are considering ditching the Bravo star due to his embarrassing behavior. So Andy Cohen days at CNN New Year's Eve wild card may be finally over. Multiple insiders report that the network is quietly preparing to move on after years of growing frustration with his on-air behavior. Sources inside CNN Hudson Yard headquarters. Damn, did everybody move this Hudson Yard? Because it's like all of the ABC stuff, Eyewitness News, I almost said Regis and Kelly, child. That's how far back I'm going with that. Kelly and Mark, because she done gone through a revolving door of co-hosts. And The View, all these shows shooting Hudson Yard. I'm like, damn, why is everybody all of a sudden in Hudson Yards? So yeah, so they said the Hudson Yard headquarters say staffers have long been uncomfortable with Cohen's Bravo style antics clashing with a news organization eager to restore credibility. Saying this is CNN, not Bravo, one insider says bluntly. That works what works on reality TV doesn't belong on a serious news network. And I was gonna say, well, why don't he do a New Year's thing at Bravo? He tried that one year with Watch What Happens Live, and that was a mess. I was like, what is it? I had to turn it off. That's how bad it was. But and I was like, I don't care about a bunch of these no talent, has been old ass drunks on here spewing a bunch of nothing. Although there was someone there that was entertaining, like Sonia Morgan, a bunch of them. But I was like, nobody don't care about sitting with these old tired ass broads. But that's Andy's shtick, so we got to go along with it. So now they said the breaking point came during CNN's latest New Year's Eve broadcast when Cohen launched into a profanity-laced alcohol feud, speaking all kinds of slurred English, targeting outgoing New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Outgoing? First of all, tied ass, corrupt. Those are the words we should be using. Or, but you say outgoing man, his ass is going out the door. Is that what we talking about when we say outgoing New York City mayor? Because there was nothing outgoing about him, except when he would always go to them clubs. And one of a friend of mine spilled some tea to me about Eric Adams. This is the same morning I was running around during the time when we had the lockdown, you know, well, in America, but mainly in New York, we had the lockdown where people were supposed to be going to clubs and all kinds of other stuff. He's going and doing all kinds. He was out there partying with people in these little underground parties where you're not even supposed to be doing that because of the pandemic. That moron was out there doing that. Thank God he's going. And I heard he done left the country. Bye. Let the door hit your black ass on the way out because I don't want his McGilla gorilla looking ass coming back. I hated. Never in my life have I hated a politician. I hated Eric Adams more than I despised Giuliani. And that's saying a lot because I couldn't stand Giuliani on the strength of how he destroyed a lot of my friends who worked in the nightlife scene when he was cracking down. And that was, of course, when I was illegally going to certain parties in New York. because I wasn't old enough yet. How he cracked down on a lot of the parties and stuff that was going on in New York, because apparently it was a lot of mobsters that were running a lot of the nightlife scene and stuff in New York. So they also said that, yeah, so him going on his rant, it was stupid. It was embarrassing. I posted on my social media, so if you follow me on Facebook and the like, I'm sure you've probably seen the clip that I posted up. It was kind of embarrassing. You looked a fool, but this is something he does every year. So I don't know if I 110% believe this story, because while the fans are loving it, because I remember read some of the comments, people was like, "Well, we like when he be getting all drunk and blah, blah, blah." So y'all feeding the beast. The people apparently like it. Y'all know y'all ratings go up. If you were to get rid of Andy Cohen for next season, who you gonna replace him with? Y'all had unfunny ass Amy Sedaris attempted to make a trans joke, and that didn't go over well. But I'm like, that bitch ain't never been damn funny. I had, like, one of my least favorite episodes of Drag Race is when her and, is that her brother or husband? I don't know. It was another one with a Sedaris last name. They did an episode together, and I was like, this episode is so goddamn dry. Why did y'all have them on there? But I get it. That was when, as Gia Gunn would say, or is there no budget this time around? So there was really no budget for the show. So you get who you can get. Now they go for people like Cardi B and bigger artists of that magnitude. So then they also said that insiders say the incident capped years of internal complaints involving excessive drinking, political rants, unpredictable behavior. Yeah, because all of a sudden everybody's sensitive about politics, especially when it's left leaning. The right can go and say and do whatever the hell they want, and they still, they got everything they want out of the deal, and they still miserable. But let some, you know, left leaning person like Andy Cohen is come out and give his opinion on how horrible of a mayor that Eric Adams was, which he has a right to do, because I couldn't stand his ass either. So rant on. But if y'all like it, that's what he's gonna give you what you asked for, because they like all that ranting and him being a drunken mess, and Anderson sitting there, oh my god, you're saying something good, well, stop it, something, all that corny, fake, phony bullshit he does, which it makes my damn, he just works my root canal nerve with that. Now, they said that CNN's parent company, Warner Brothers Discovery, as you know, is under financial pressure, prompting heightened scrutiny of all on-air talent. So they're saying how the timing could be worse on this. When a company is considering restructuring, you don't keep liabilities. This is according to a media executive. You clean house. Even Cooper is said to be distancing himself. Well, he didn't look like he was distancing himself on that episode. They said Aronson is a journalist. So they say. He doesn't want to babysit someone slurring through political reasons. Well, that's why you shouldn't go on them rants when you're drunk, because then you don't have your thoughts together. It also goes to show that there's a lot of celebrities who are just not very bright when it comes to talking politics. Which is what, look, when we talk about Nicki Minaj and Snoop Dogg and so many others, 50 Cent, we've said that many a times, whether it's on the right or the left, if you're going to jump in and talk about politics, at least know a little bit more than just what you be picking up on the Google search cliff notes given to you by AI, to know what the hell you're talking about with politics. So it's like, I'm with you with what you saying with the whole Eric Adams thing. It was just, you wasn't making no sense because you drank too goddamn much. Now maybe if you had like maybe 2 shots, then you'd be able to accumulate or formulate the words of what you got to say. But when you're down to shot number 8, it's like, nah, leave the politics alone. So they said inside CNN, the mood is clear. It's embarrassing, and CNN is done being embarrassed. Well, we'll see how that all works out at the end of the year, if this turns out to be true, that he is over Andy Cohen's antics. But to be honest, I love you, Rob Stewart. And a lot of times you be on it with the T. I don't know if I necessarily believe this. I do believe that they liken the antics until somebody goes in and buys up the thing. And who knows? Look, I was going to say if Paramount was to get their hands on it, more than likely this story will be true. But if it's Warner Brothers Discovery, I'm just like, I don't know. He'll probably be back there next season. They like all this foolishness. But like I said, if they were to get rid of him, who you replacing him with? So I definitely want to hear that from y'all. Who do y'all think would be a good choice to replace Andy Cohen? Don Lemon? I mean, he could use the hit on his YouTube channel. But then again, after y'all done did what y'all, if y'all do me dirty and saying that, you couldn't pay me enough money to go back. Just pay me my $25 million severance, which y'all chopped me when before my contract. So just give my 25 million, and I'll just go and use that money to build my own thing over here. And the good thing that I will say that I loved about what Don Lemon did is that he's not like these typical homosexuals that run to these allies or whatever the case is for ratings. He at least had some people within our community like Big Frida up there with him while he was doing the show. So I like that. But we need more of that. We need a lot more queer based artists, and that would be like, you know what, that'd be another great dream that I have that I would love to do. I would love to have, when I get to a place secure enough where I have a big enough following that I can do my own New Year's Rockin' Eve or whatever we're gonna call it. Chris Avalon New Year's Bash. And we have a lot of queer-based entertainment. We have actors, performers, you name it, and we're gonna celebrate queer art. I'm not gonna sit up here and just we need an ally. We got enough of those. I mean, we ain't got to do the whole Paris Hilton being the Grand Marshal. We need some actual queer-based Grand Marshals up in this situation. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. That was a lot to break down. Yes. Not you said you got to teach me Britney lore. With a freshly shaved head in 2007, Britney embarked on a secret tour under the name The M&Ms with a 5-song set list lasting around 15 minutes. Yeah, where the hell was I? I guess I was so caught up in the drama of it all that the shaved head, the beating the car with the parked car with the umbrella. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know she did another one of those weird anti shows. Yes, the Onyx Hotel tour did influence my decision to keep the name Onyx. But look at me figure it out. Now I'm just scrolling. I'd say Don Lemon did well considering he was online. Bars aren't televised online show. Wait, bars aren't televising online shows for New Year's Eve, nor are folks at home watching. So that's a mark that's going to affect numbers. He needs to be patient. Absolutely. That's why I said, like, you got to take your time to build that audience because it's like, yeah, um, bars aren't televising online shows. They're busy doing their own thing with having their own DJs, the go-go dancers shaking their behind. Then when it's time to do the whole countdown, then they have their own setup situation going. So they're not, I mean, unless I guess you go to like a sports bar or something, they would probably have that on. Who knows? But I mean, and when of course, like I said, when I was at work in the garden in the break room, all the TVs had the New Year's Rockin' Eve thing on. So um that's to be expected. Why did CNN hire Andy Cohen in the first place if they were so concerned with their image? So it seems everyone, regardless of color, is getting on the chopping block to kiss. That's what it seemed like. It's like everybody's scared of Trump, and which I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? Like y'all, we got so many guys. It's funny, we got a country full of betas. There's really no alphas out here. It's like I'm gonna watch a fan made documentary on how only one Black Christmas film matters. And two remakes never made the impact, but I learned Bob Clark idea of a sequel was going to be Halloween too. I mean, Black Christmas, I love that movie. Damn, I forgot the actress's name, the one that just passed away that plays the lead in the film. I like the film. And I actually don't mind the Black Christmas with I don't like that woke one. Now, for this the one time they're gonna hear me, well, one time for now, because I may end up using it again. The one that woke one where it was like the girl power I'm like, okay, this is like a little too pandery bullshit for me. Hated that film. But the Black Christmas with Michelle Trachtenberg, man, she rest in peace. That actually was a good one. I didn't mind it because it took like elements of Black Christmas, but it built on its own thing. It didn't copy the original movie. So I didn't mind that one. It's kind of like it's not as good as like when I was thinking about Silent Night, Deadly Night, the remake, where they took elements of the original film, but then they kind of brought this supernatural twist to it, which I love that of what they did with that. So I'm just like, yeah. If you can come up with a really cool idea, I'm here for it. So I didn't mind the remake. Um, as a negative, I mean, he revealed he would give you a prologue. Billy killed Olivia Hussey's character and two cops, but was sent to the mental institution. He escaped 10 months in the sorority house, but they are prepared as the Christmas massacre of 97. So her character died. And she was supposed to be pregnant. That would have been a little too controversial. It said led them to prepare and fight back. He would finally reveal Billy as he would kill Billy off, but he never showed us Billy in case he was asked to do a sequel. They never showed him, but the weird part was I thought it was the boyfriend or whatever the case is because he had the green sweater on and the green sweater matched like when he was stabbing up Margot Kidder's character with the unicorn. So I thought it was him because of the sweaters was matching. 'Cause I don't think the original movie did well. What does what mean? Oh, you must be going back on stuff because we was talking about Eminem, which was explained. Now, here's a story that I am just overtly confused by. Let's get into this Will Smith story. So, Will Smith is the latest black man with money. Since this is the kids table surfers narrative y'all always want to take when it comes to black people being accused of shit. Y'all want to make it about the color, and you want to make it about their tax bracket and how much money they have in their fucking wallet, which nobody really knows, by the way, unless I guess you IMDb it or look it up on Forbes. But nevertheless, Will Smith is the latest black man with money who's being accused of misconduct by some guy who was on his recent tour as a violinist. I'm like, first of all, Will Smith tours? I didn't even know he was out there touring, but I guess it was for that album none of y'all bought. But nevertheless, let's get into her. So he's being sued by a tour violinist who was accusing a rapper of sexual harassment, wrongful termination, and retaliation. Professional violinist Brian King Joseph filed a complaint at the Superior Court in California, County of wait. Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles. Why has it got so many goddamn titles? It said at the Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles on Tuesday, December 30th, against the Bad Boy star, who's 57 at Trey Ball Studios Management, Inc. The complaint claims that Smith was deliberately grooming and priming Mr. Joseph for further sexual exploitation after inviting Joseph to join his global tour based on a true story 2025 in November 2024. It details an alleged traumatic series of events in March of 2025 amid Smith's tour, in which Joseph claims he discovered that someone had entered his Las Vegas hotel room with no signs of forced entry. Evidence of sexual threat of violence allegedly included a handwritten note reading "Brian, I'll be back, just us," with a drawn heart and signed stone F, as well as wipes, a beer bottle, a red backpack, a bottle of high five medication, that's HIV for those of you who don't understand the vernacular of how I speak on this show, and another individual's name, an earring, a hospital discharge paperwork belonging to a person unbeknownst to Joseph, and a partridge in a pear tree. What I don't understand is who is this Stone F? And where does Will Smith fit in all of this? Because you're suing him for groomation. I need specifics in regards to the grooming. And first of all, how old is Brian? Because I'm like, sir, aren't you a little too old to be groomed? Like grooming is like if you a child and your frontal lobe ain't developed yet. I can understand that as being sort of like groomation. Um, he definitely was getting jiggy with it. He definitely was getting jiggy with it. But what was I gonna say? Oh, so I just need to understand what all this is. And then you say all this other stuff was in there. And another thing too, if somebody left all this weird stuff in my room, I'm definitely taking pictures. Me, I always think ahead when it comes to crazy. I'm like, wait a minute, nobody's gonna believe me if I'm seeing all this stuff. So I'm gonna take photos. The high five medication, who name was on it? Because what you trying to say? Will Smith got the high five? Or whose is it? So Joseph alleges he feared that an unknown individual would soon return to his room to engage in sexual acts with him, according to the complaint. People has reached out to a representative for Smith for comment. So I got this from People magazine in case y'all didn't get that from me bringing up the People thing. Now, following Joseph reporting the incident to hotel staff, a local non-emergency police line and Smith's management team, which means that if you did a non-emergency police line and also you reported the incident to hotel staff, you definitely need to come up with names, dates, all of that stuff of who you spoke to. All of that evidence should have been taken down and present this to your attorney so they could bring this up if should it go to trial. They said the complaint alleges a member of the tour management team later shamed Joseph and told him he was being terminated. Another violinist allegedly was hired to assume the same position on the tour per the complaint. The incident caused Joseph severe emotional stress, economic loss, reputational harm, and other damages, including PTSD and other mental illness as a result of the termination. This is according to the complaint. Now, Joseph, a Washington, D.C. native, appeared on America's Got Talent season 13 in 2018, placing as a top three finalist. In December of 2024, the musician posted a video of him playing violin on stage to Instagram, indicating in his caption that it was the first night of his touring with Smith. Now, the new complaint follows a $3 million lawsuit filed on December 1st from former associate Bilal Salam. I believe we talked about that on the show, where with the whole Jada Pinkett situation, where he was like, where he filed a suit against Jada Pinkett. Or maybe we didn't talk about this on the show, but in case we didn't, because I don't remember, I talk about so much stuff on the show, I forget half the time of the stories I be talking about. But apparently, he claims that she verbally threatened him. The husband and wife duo are really mad and say it's a lot of crap. This is what an entertainment source told people, calling Salam an opportunistic person out to exploit them. And Smith's, based on a true story, came out and ran from June to September 2025, following the March release of the titular album. So the album came out in March, came and went like a wet fart, and then 3 months later he went on tour, and then I think it was like what, 4 months, 3 months, three and a half, is when they went on tour. When he went on tour to support it. And so yeah, so then there was this story that came out with People Magazine, where they said that and this was on December 2nd when that story came out, that Jada Pinkett Smith told Will Smith's friend he would catch a bullet if he continued telling her personal business. And he filed a $3 million complaint. So yeah, Bilal Salam, aka Brother Bilal, who described himself as a best friend of Will Smith for nearly 40 years. You got a funny way of showing it, coming spilling all this tea. Said he worked closely with the multi-hyphenate on several professional and personal projects, pointing out that Smith included photos of Salam in the actor's memoir will. In a complaint, hold on, because this is what I hate about a lot of these channels. They will move around when I'm in the middle of reading something. In a complaint obtained by People on Monday, December 1st, Salam alleges that Pinkett Smith confronted him in the lobby of the Regency Calabasas Commons on September 25th, 2021, while he was attending a private birthday celebration for Will. The suit alleges that Pinkett Smith was accompanied by approximately 7 members of her entourage during the confrontation. Salam's complaint claims that Pinkett Smith then became verbally aggressive and threatened plaintiff by stating that if he continued telling her personal business, he would end up missing or catch a pow pow. So he also said that she demanded that he sign an NDA or else. So there was then didn't he come out and say that, look, my thing is this: if Will Smith go around slapping the sugar honey iced tea out of people at the Oscars, I wouldn't put nothing past him on this. However, I don't know if I believe it. Because my thing is, are you suing Will because somebody within his company may have been doing the harassing? And because Will's name is on the marquee and he is the star and he's the big kahuna, whatever the case is, you're going after him for that? Because if Will Smith was not the one that was out here doing the harassing, put the stuff in the room, wrote the note, was doing anything inappropriate. Like, we got more details with the Tyler Perry stuff, with the two men that's accusing him of the stuff that they're accusing him of. That is more believable because they're going into more detail about some of the stuff that, yes, a man with that much power and who writes everybody's check and the scripts and does the lighting and puts all of them $2 Timu wigs and all that other stuff. Yeah, when somebody's controlling all the strings of the company, I could definitely understand that on the Tyler Perry side could be possible. The stuff with the Will Smith, I'm conflicted because it's like I need more details on this. And before I forget, because I went on this whole thing about the Jada Pinkett thing, I forgot to bring up the actual guy's video, Brian King Joseph, where he posted on his Instagram something talking about this situation of harassment that he was enduring before he filed his suit. Similar to what what's his name? The Mario Rodriguez. I had to think of his name for a second. Mario Rodriguez did with Tyler Perry, which of course everybody was in his comments somehow, but why did you take the money? Why did you do this? Why? It's like, okay, I'm not going through that complexity of that again. If y'all want to get that whole detail, I broke it down in my little 45-minute segment on it, which it was a lot because we had to play the video from Love and Crime, I mean, Law and Crime, and break down all the details of that. So that was going to be a long video. But yeah, if you want to check that one out, definitely look for that on the channel. It is its own little segment. But anyway, let's play the video and then we will come back and talk. Please hold.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to talk about something really important. Earlier this year, I was hired to be a performer on a major tour with somebody who is huge in the industry. So I was excited, proud of myself for getting the opportunity. Unfortunately, some things happened, and I can't get into the details of exactly what that was because it's already a legal issue right now. But the reason why I'm speaking out about this is because getting fired or getting blamed or shamed or threatened or anything like that, simply for reporting sexual misconduct or safety threats at work, is not okay. And I know that there's a lot of other people out there who have been afraid to speak up, and I understand. And if that's you, I see you. And that's pretty much it. More updates to come soon. Thanks for listening.
All right. So, and then he turned off all the comments and stuff. But I think if you go on Facebook, there was a lot of people that commented on it. But I would just say this: is like, unless you have a way that you can, I guess we'll just have to see how this story develops as it continues. But for now, I'm kind of side on it. Like, I need a little bit more evidence. Like, you saying all this stuff regarding like the headline and on everybody's situations, that Will Smith is being sued for sexual harassment. And then I'm going through the article and reading everything, all the stuff that I could muster during the research. And I'm like, but where does Will Smith fit in this? Is it because Will Smith's the big name? So, of course, that's got everybody immediately jumping in and saying all of this. I hope, you know, whatever happened to you, you get the justice in that you deserve in regards of if you were harassed and all this other stuff. I can't say you were, I wasn't there, so I'm saying if, because it's a big if on these whole situations. You can prove it in court, you got the evidence, you got the I's dotting and T's crossed and all this stuff. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, and I will definitely keep you abreast of this story as it develops. But for now, in this situation, and I mean, regardless of some of the stuff I've said about Will Smith, and y'all know how you do, but do I believe that? I mean, he's capable of that. Has he ever lied down with someone of the same gender? Is the Pope Catholic? But in regards to that, with this story, I am side eyeing a little bit. So we're just gonna have to wait. This is just gonna have to be a wait and see situation. So in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Did you hear, before I even read y'all the riot act on this whole situation? When you first read the articles, whatever the case was, or for some of y'all, the headline and the cliff notes, because I can't with people who just read headlines and just come up with a whole narrative instead of doing the research and reading the whole article. It's only going to take 5 minutes of your time, or maybe less. But from what you gathered from all of this, do you believe the tea that's being spilled regarding Will Smith being caught up in this mess as the latest black man with money? I'm making a joke because y'all know where all that stems from, the foolishness that some of y'all be saying online, be sending me. But do you believe this stuff regarding Will Smith could be capable of something like this? These days, I don't put nothing past nobody. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Hold on while I apply some chapstick. Was it HIV medication for a positive person, or is it? I think from what I was hearing, I think what people were saying it was PrEP. There was some people say HIV medication, and then I've heard other stories where they said it was PrEP. I'm gonna lean more on the side of I believe it was PrEP that was on there. But child, all these homosexuals running around and this, I don't know why people surprised, because I be telling y'all a lot of your fave musicians get down with people of the same gender, and a lot of actors turn out to be in the closet. So I don't know why y'all surprised. You're the second time of me hearing it's. Oh wait, you're the. I guess you say it is. second time me hearing the story. I can't see where Will Smith. That's what I said. I'm like, I am confused. It's like we all understood with the whole stuff with Pastor Perry because the man think he TD Jakes. That's why I call him Pastor Perry. And the Will Smith thing, I'm relatively confused, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about that part. It's like I look at all the evidence and I just come to my own conclusion. I'm just not going to blindly be like, oh well, he did it. I'm like, if Will Smith's name is nowhere near the thing, how are we going to sit there and put blame on him? All right, now here's somebody who I do believe did what they did. Let's talk about Stefon Diggs. So now apparently he got into it with what is it? Well, he's facing serious felony charges, which from a motion hearing in Dedham District Court on Tuesday. And I gotta say, what? I love me some Cardi, but girl, you know how to pick them. You really know how to pick these bums. It's like, and that's why I always say, many a time you could take the girl out the ghetto. Dot dot dot. But I was like, do I? Oh yeah, I do. I was like, don't I got a photo for it? I sure do. And I do look, let's just get into it. So, according to NBC News, they said star New England Patriot wide receiver, Stefon Diggs is accused of slapping his live-in private chef and choking her until she had trouble breathing, a newly released police report revealed Tuesday. Mila Adams told police that on December 2nd, she and Diggs had been trading texts about money she claims Diggs owes her, and that's when he entered her unlocked bedroom at his home outside Boston. Their argument became violent, according to Dedham Police Department's report filed on Monday. She alleges that the male then smacked her across the face. Diggs has denied the allegations. I do wonder if if he's going around with these alleged stories regarding smacking and choking people that are on his payroll. And then the incident with the male who apparently Stefon was putting the moves on, allegedly, and then his crew was basically trying to beat him into silence. When you get these stories and stuff coming out there, Cardi, I hope he ain't putting his hands on you. That's all I'm saying. Now, Adams, who went to the police on December 16th, said in the report that when she tried to resist, the male then tried to choke her using the crook of his elbow around her neck. So, was he trying to put her in a headlock? And she feared she would black out. When she tried to pry his arm off her, Adams said he tightened his grip before he suddenly threw her on the bed, according to the report. He said something to the effect of thought so, Adams told officers, the report says. According to the police report, Adams said that when she told Diggs she still hadn't been paid, he responded lies and walked out. She told police that Diggs had hired her in July to cook for him for the entire NFL season and that he owed her at least a month's pay, according to the report. Diggs, who's 32, who played a key role in the meteoric rise of Pro Bowl quarterback Drake May, and the Patriots' winning season, was charged with felony strangulation and assault and battery, according to Dedham District Court records. The incident is alleged to have happened a day after New England beat the New York Giants. Well, it's not that hard to beat the New York Giants, quiet as it's kept, 33-15 on Monday Night Football. Adams told police she went to stay with a friend after the alleged incident and returned to Diggs' home on December 9th to collect her belongings. She said that when she texted Diggs about the money, he referred her to an assistant who told her Diggs wanted her to sign a non disclosure agreement, according to the police report. Adams did not sign any such document, the police report says. Diggs categorically denies all the allegations, his attorney said in a statement. The timing and motivation for making the allegation is crystal clear. They are a direct result of an employee-employer financial dispute that was not resolved to the employee's dissatisfaction. The statement said, Stefon looks forward to establishing the truth, and a court of law will look. If he ain't paid you in a month, says, you need to have receipts for that. Don't people have receipts when it comes to payment in regards of like, okay, this is how much that this man is supposed to pay me. Well, I don't know how she get paid. I don't know if it's weekly. I don't know if it's bi-weekly. I don't know if it's monthly. Well, first of all, there's no way in hell I'm working on a month's salary. I mean, I know these celebrities get that, they have coins that they pay people well, but I don't know what her situation is. I don't know if it's weekly and I don't know if it's bi-weekly. I mean, quiet as this kid, I prefer weekly. I haven't worked a bi-weekly job in years. I think the last The first job I ever got where I paid, what was it that I got paid weekly? It was when I was in the circus. I got ever since then, I've never worked a bi-weekly job after that. Working at the garden, get paid weekly. Working at Shake Shack, I got paid weekly. So I was like, I can't do the whole bi-weekly thing. I need money in my account flowing every every week, every Wednesday. That's when it was getting paid in the situation. But anyway, so with this whole situation, it's like, yeah, she just got to prove all of this in the court that she didn't get her money and just have the evidence and all this stuff here because I'm like, yeah, this is the amount I'm supposed to get paid every month. There's bank statements. I'm sure there's a lot of things or however he pays her, Zelle, Venmo, I don't know, stool pigeon or just a regular pigeon. I don't know however that y'all negotiation situation work it out in the courts. Now, Stefon do seem like he got a couple of screws loose, so I don't put nothing, past him on him doing any kind of stuff. It just goes to show, like I said, at the end of the day, Carter, you definitely know how to pick these bums when it comes to these type of people you getting with. And I definitely feel like this is a one-sided relationship because wasn't there a bunch of kids he ended up having this year besides you having his baby? Now we like the music, we like the antics, we like all the stuff you do, but when it comes to relationships, you just bad at it. So I'll definitely keep abreast of this story as it develops. Like I said, like even with the previous story, like we were saying with the Will Smith thing, with this, we just need a little more evidence in regards for me to come to my conclusion. I need my own judges show because I just be like, I be listening, I'm like, okay, I need all the evidence. Like y'all just give me partial stuff. You think I'm gonna just make a whole decision based off this little bit of crumbs that you giving me? There ain't much to work with. That's like them girls that I grew up with in school. They had no hair, right? But find a way to pull that hair up and put that little piece of hair and the little scrunchy. I'm like, how'd you get all that hair in there? There's nothing like there's like a little thing sticking out, looking like alfalfa. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, so let's see what the people are saying. My chaz. He said Kylie Minogue hints at doing a second Christmas album this year. Good for her, because I'm tired of Mariah and that same tight ass "All I Want for Christmas Is You" song. We need some new Christmas songs. I said Radio City Music Hall and wait, what? I do feel like she should come to like she could do a little residency in New York. Child, I would say go as far as like I mean, I know she did the garden, like she did 2 nights and sold it out. It would be cute if Kylie Minogue did like something in the theater at Madison Square Garden or at Rockefeller. Well, no, we can't do Rockefeller Center. Rockefeller Center is already automatically for the Rockettes, and they've been around 100 years, so they're not even going to change that for nobody. So the Rockettes have already locked that down. But if they were to do something where she could do a little residency at in the theater at Madison Square Garden, we seat like 3,000 people in there capacity. If she does like a little cute little Christmas show in there, that would be cute. Then I'd definitely be wanting to work shifts in there. So I'm a cancer survivor, and it's telling mama your body is tired. You've been working for 5 years. People also ask why are you working nonstop. She spelled very few artists are keeping the music industry. There's no money to fund new talent or take risks. The reason why. Well, look, if Kylie wants to keep making music, let her make music. I don't know why people complain. It's the same thing they bitch about Taylor Swift. Though, like I said, Tay Tay is not my cup of tea. But if she wants to come out here and continue to feed that beast that is the industry, because she the only one that's making the industry money, quiet as it's got her and the weekend are the only ones that's out here really making the industry any money. So if she wants to continue to come out here and do whatever she wants to do in regards of making music and touring and being that, mechanical animal, let her do it. And if Kylie wants to come out and perform, let her do that. If she has good songs that she want to get out there and sing and perform, like this is her life. And if you love what you do, you're gonna keep doing it. I keep telling y'all, people with careers do not retire. People with regular jobs retire. So as long as you have it within you to do whatever. And the good thing I like about Kylie, she's not one of those control freaks that's like, oh, I have to write the song. Oh, I have to put something on it that have my name. It's like some of her biggest and best songs. Well, she's written a couple of songs, as we know. So we know that she has the ability to write stuff. But if you got a good bop for me and you want to bring it to me or whatever, and it sound good, oh, bitch, trust and believe. I want to say, you want to who's EP so far, 2026 already. Y'all got me. I listened to Agnes's 4-track EP. Let me tell you, bitch, that EP had me in a chokehold yesterday. She has a new album coming out this year. Well, the end of the month. Swedish pop girl. I don't know if y'all are familiar with her, but yeah, she had this song back in the day called "Release Me," but she's been releasing like more of this like dancey electronic type stuff. She's gone in more in that direction. And those Swedish girls, I don't know how they turn them out, but the Swedes definitely be coming with the earworms. When I was listening to that, when I was listening to her songs, oh, she definitely was gagging me. There was one song that I had to tell y'all that I was obsessed with, and it's called Milk. I'm like, bitch. When I was reading the lyrics, and that chorus was like, I turn milk into butter and butter into money, and with the money, honey, I create the life that I like. I was like, okay, she got me. And then she has another song called Balenciaga Covered Eyes. It's a cute little 4-track EP. If you haven't gotten around to checking it out, definitely check it out. But the weird part is that album cover, she was looking a little Donatella Versace-esque. I was like, sis, I don't know if I like this photo, but the EP is cute. And I like artists that do that. It's like, I'm gonna come out with an EP and then at the end of the month I'll give y'all the full album. I'm hoping Jade does that too. Because we definitely, if she's gonna be hitting the road on her own, she definitely needs more songs. Like you said, there's no archives after acts die, but Taylor Swift is a billionaire, but it's hurting the industry itself because we're not meant to own anything. Well, I think he meant own. Why can't I own the music that I create? My thing is this: I don't care if you like do whatever you want. Like I don't care about owning the music. I'll own all my other shit. If I can own my merch, if I can own like a lot of the percentage of the tour revenue, then I don't mind that. But as far as like if you want to own the music, I was like, I don't care what I'm going to do with it. Um, I don't know if I would ever plan on having children. It's like I can't be buried with the money after I die. But if there's a team of people that I got, it's like, okay, let's come up with some stuff. Y'all got some good box me, send it my way. That's what I be saying. But anyway, speaking of since we was talking about, ownership and all these other things, let's get into more NFL news. But this surrounding Beyonce. So for once, Beyonce's not in the news for swagger jacking somebody else's ideas and passing off as her own. Now we got a colonizer on the countryside who has done that instead, and that being Lainey Wilson. I actually worked with Lainey Wilson's show when she came to the Garden. It was cute. It was entertaining. But yeah, so she apparently did this same thing, like because when Beyonce did the NFL Christmas Day game the year before. Well, Lainey Wilson did it this year, a couple of weeks, around Christmas 2025. And now she's being accused of copying newly anointed billionaire Beyonce's concept for her Christmas Day halftime show for the NFL game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions on December 25th. Now, many fans claim the country crooner took inspiration from Beyonce's costuming and concept from the Cowboy Carter singer's performance for last year's holiday halftime show. Some critics took to social media to express their outrage as they called out Wilson, who's 33, for stealing another artist's ideas. When the official Instagram page of Netflix shared a video of Snoop Dogg and Wilson's show on Friday, goddamn, Snoop Dogg will show up to an envelope open at this damn point. A slew of critics took to the comments section to point out the resemblance, whether it was intentional or not. You want to know something? Hold on, because I want to actually pull up this and show y'all, but I gotta do a whole duplicate type situation because I want to show y'all the pictures. Because I'm like, I don't want to go through all of this mess. Hold on. And this was not intentional. Sometimes I be thinking of things at the last minute. Y'all just have to bear with me. But luckily enough, I'm fast. So yeah, then there's this overall look, and then there's that one. Then of course we got Beyonce with the leotard. This is a cute outfit though. I'll give Lainey that. But it definitely does seem a little inspired. I could definitely see somebody like a Dolly Parton in it. Okay, so then here's some of the tweets. So let's get into those. One person put "Girl" by, that signature one, and then another one. I feel like I've seen this before. Then we have Beyonce, "Girl, She Stole Your Look." So once again, they copied Beyonce. She stole Beyonce's look. OMFG. And then this is literally just the Beyonce bowl. I mean, can y'all think for yourselves even just a little bit? Copy and paste the Beyonce and still got it wrong. Cowboy copy paste. Did they reuse the car or what? So y'all copied and pasted last year's performance. Got it. So yeah, there's a lot of that going on up in there where there's as they say what is it? What's the term? Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So there's that. Now they also so now let's get into the details of what had happened. So yeah, they said that they were support. Wait, hold on, because I gotta go up even further. Last Christmas, Beyonce wore an all-white outfit and cheeky leather chaps to perform at the halftime show in her hometown of Houston. Her 13-year-old daughter, Blue Ivy Carter, joined her for the stadium performance during the game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Houston Texans. For the joint performance this year, Lainey also wore a bedazzled figure-hugging bodysuit paired with a white cowboy hat. The majority of the performers were all white, including vocal legend Andrea Bocelli, who I just did his show. It was a good show, by the way. His 28-year-old son Matteo Bocelli, as well as Hunter X's EJ, Audrey Nuna, and Ray Ami, who, as y'all know, are the singing voices of K-pop demon hunters. They were supporting Snoop Dogg, who was standing front and center for the collaborative performance dubbed Snoop's Holiday Halftime Party. For the festive show, the rapper wore a head-to-toe red outfit paired with a gold microphone, standing out beside the singers wearing monochromatic white looks. For the festive show, the rapper wore a head-to-toe red outfit paired with gold microphone. Okay, I already read that. And it said he performed "My Favorite Things," "G Thing," and "Drop It Like It's Hot" at a Christmas event. Okay. Then Wilson rode in on a Snoop mobile and sang "Santa Claus is Coming to Town." Well, there's your answer. Did they use the vehicle? She got into a Snoop mobile. So there's the car. I don't think it was flying like Beyonce's was during the Cowboy Carter tour, but nevertheless, there was a car used during the performance. Now, later, Hunter X performed Golden, followed by Andrea and Matteo Bocelli's performance of White Christmas. Wilson's flashy vehicular entrance was also the subject of criticism, as some fans compared it to Beyonce riding in on a white pickup truck the previous year. On social media, many fans pointed out the similarities to Beyonce's 2024 Christmas halftime show with Post Malone and her daughter Blue Ivy. We don't need to get into the details because we already read all the tweets, but then they said the second game of the NFL Christmas game day slate aired on Netflix, with the end resulting in the Minnesota Vikings 23-10 victory over the Detroit Lions. So, in the midst of all the controversy, the Minnesota Vikings kicked the Detroit Lions' ass on Christmas. And I was busy at the Knicks game working that. So, um, at the end of the day, I guess I'll just say about this. I know for once Beyonce glad she not on the receiving end of being accused of jacking someone's ideas and making it her own. I also find it quite interesting that the country music gatekeepers won't give Bey her flowers for her foray into the country space and ushering it more into the mainstream, even though it has been mainstream. But as far as like black talent coming in and doing something where country, blues, folk, all of that stuff is roots from black music. Um, they won't give her flowers for that by, not even giving her any kind of nominations because they felt like, well, you have to come and you got to. Like, I'm not sitting up in here kissing y'all ass. I guess unless it was a Grammy, it'd be different. But country music, I'm not doing all that extra jumping through hoops. And yeah, that was a read because that's exactly what the Knowles Carters do. They will sit and jump through hoops and tap dance and kiss the ass of the Grammy people, and then you get Jay-Z out here bitching because his wife didn't get the AOTY Grammy, which then next year they ended up giving it to her. So it kind of makes us think: did y'all really want to give it to her because it was well deserved for Cowboy Carter, or did you give it because Joe Camel was out here running his goddamn mouth because his wife, who some people say he pulled a lot of stunts and shows to, in regards to the politics in the music, so that way she can get what she needed from that. That's TBD. So yeah, but it's funny y'all won't give her flowers in regards of what she did with the Cowboy Carter era and all the other stuff, and bringing something different to the country music scene in space. Yet y'all got no problem channeling y'all inner colonizer by hijacking her ideas, smearing a little mayonnaise on it, and claiming it as your own. So it's nice to see that for once Beyonce's not caught up in the mess, being accused of taking other people's previous ideas and producers and things and bringing your own little situation to it. That now you got the country people out here who were, I'm not saying Lainey per se was hating, but there was a lot of country artists and people in that world that were coming out here with the little snide comments and saying all kinds of stuff. But we know on one end, y'all was saying all that mess because it was cute for what y'all was doing it for. But y'all was, of course, sitting there watching, seething, and hating on the fact that how she able to, and her team was able to come up with all that shit. And then y'all want to decide a year later, like we got minds of a gnat, and we was going to forget that we already saw this the year prior. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you think that Lainey Wilson was over there watching everything Beyonce was doing and was like, you know what? I want to do that for my show next year? Or whatever, whenever they were coming up with the concept, was like, let's look at the Cowboy Carter era, see what they took from that and just, smear a little mayonnaise on the bread without the cheese and the meat and just give y'all what, basic shit. And put coon ass Snoop Dogg on the track because everything goes down with Snoop. Everybody loves Snoop Dogg. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. They've been showing The Howling a lot on TV, so I've been pretty much excited over that. Like on the streaming service when I watched it on when I watched it on Prime Video. I watched it last month. It looks like neither Purple Rain or Heroes will have a running up that hill moment following the finale of Stranger Things, but rather a song by a cast member end of beginning. Well, funny enough, I heard that people were saying that Purple Rain shot up on the charts because of Stranger Things. I was like, whatever. I mean, at the end when they were showing the credits and they did play Heroes by David Bowie, I was loving that song, but it didn't move me to go listen to it on social media. Funny enough, you know what did? I was in the gym and Robert has sent some posts about freestyle, freestyle music. Did Chris not change what he was listening? Because I was listening to Joel Corey. He had put out this workout set and I was like literally working out to it. I was like, you know what? I'm in the mood for some TKA and some Noel and some giggles and some Lisa and Cult Jam. So let me put on some freestyle. Was I not getting my life in that gym yesterday? I sure was. And you say it's likely because they want to try and say it's only right if it okay, if it's only right if it's wrapped in white. We already saw what happened. Y'all got dragged from, copying. They're doing a copy paste. And my thing is, at the end of the day, there's no new ideas under the sun, but at least don't make it so damn obvious what y'all copying though. Let's make some kind of effort. Like y'all was inspired, but just make it look. Didn't they also accuse Shakira of copying off of Beyonce's Renaissance tour? With all the silver and the visual aesthetics and stuff from her tour. Look, there's a lot of people that's always. But I'm sure Madonna, when she was out here going to a lot of concerts and all this other stuff, she was inspired by a lot of these tours, which pretty much is the blueprint for the way a lot of these girls tour anyway. So if she's gonna sit and see like they were inspired by her and she's inspired by a lot of the people who are inspired by her, that to me is a win. I also remember hearing that tea allegedly from Matt Redman that that Madonna will have some collaborators on this upcoming album, and one of them is Lady Gaga. I don't know if I believe that. That is TBD. But we just gonna have to see her and Addison Ray. Addison Ray, I believe. I would believe that one. Lady Gaga. I mean, that would be good for the culture. So you little monster can shut the fuck up. Not only y'all, but some of you rebel hearts too, because I don't like the fact that y'all be out here throwing y'all little shade too. I enjoy though. I have my love-hate relationship with Gaga because she can be annoying at times. But I will say this: the bitch puts on a good damn show. When I saw 5 of them damn Mayhem Ball shows at the Garden, because I worked them, um, It was a good show. She definitely gives full energy. She's singing live. Yes, that mic is on, and the show is excellent theatrical. She is a showstopper. So I'm gonna give you your flowers if it's deserved. But this infighting amongst the fans, that shit gotta stop. You know, I be cursing so much on this channel, I'm be realizing I'm doing it. But anyway, before we get to the next topic, we are finally down to our final four topics. And before we get to our final four, if you could please do me a solid and hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to smash the notification bell so that we know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Please and thank you. Now, without further ado, let's talk about Jennifer Lopez, who is back on her residency grind. Somebody asked me, they was like, did she already do a residency? I'm like, yeah, she's doing another one. Because she tried the touring thing. Y'all don't care for the most part. I try to go to different cities and all this other stuff. Y'all don't care. Y'all don't want to support me when I come to the arenas. Funny enough, when she did Madison Square Garden, they had a blackout. That's a legendary thing that happened there. She had a blackout. But well, I wasn't there at the time when it happened, but that evacuate the building and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's funny because when we do our training or whatever, that is the go-to video that they put on in the whole example situation. Wait, I should be spilling all this tea. But anyway, so back to the Jennifer thing. So she is back on her up. Well, she's doing an up all night live in Las Vegas residency. I don't remember all the dates. I think it was New Year's Eve. There was 2 dates, and then she did a couple more dates. And then I think March. After she's done with January, she comes back in March, and I think it's like 9 dates or whatever. I don't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, so she's clapping back at her haters because and she addressed all the scrutiny she's been getting online. I also saw, because I didn't even know this, I was like, look at Kendall for being funny and charismatic and engaging with the audience. I thought she was coming off the dome with it, like Lady Gaga does every night when she's on the Mayhem Ball. I did like the fact that when she would have a little moment where she would talk to the audience, and that's when she was at the piano, she would change up the stories and say different things to the people every night, which felt authentic. How the hell this broad had a fucking teleprompter on and she was reading from the teleprompter in this whole thing of the jokes that she was making? And I'm gonna show y'all the clip. I don't know. I may have to go in and try to find the one with the teleprompter on TikTok, but child, she had to freestyle a little bit because the teleprompter was going too fast, apparently. But let's play this clip of her making the little, joke or whatever about y'all talking about she put some damn clothes on, and then we will come as people still respond to my videos on TikTok. That's why I'm like having to close that stuff on the side. But anyway, let's play the clip.
Scrolling through some things, I gotta tell you, they got a lot of things to say, don't they? It can be a little mean, cruel place, the internet. But I gotta tell you, I've been doing this a long time, so thank God I can ignore most of it. But I do find some things that are funny. Some things are funny. Because I read something like, why does she always smile like that? Like that in pictures with her mouth open. I was like, damn, okay. And then I heard, why is she always, wearing those things? Like, why does she dress like that? Why don't she dress her age? I'm like, how old do you think I am? Why is she always naked?
God bless you.
I said, if you have this booty, you be naked too. Come on, yeah. Give me some booty.
Okay. And y'all are shady. One person said nobody said anything like that. I mean, nobody. And then another person says she didn't bring up how we said she can't sing, though. Y'all so damn shady. But let me find the video. Oh, here it is with the teleprompter.
I gotta tell you, I've been doing this a long time, so thank God I can ignore most of it. But I do find some things that are funny. Some things are funny. Because I read something like, why does she always smile like that? Like that in pictures with her mouth open. I gotta tell you, I've been doing this a long time, so thank God I can ignore most of it. But I do find some things that are funny. Some things are funny. Because I read something like, why does she always smile like that? Like that.
What the hell's wrong with the thing? It's like y'all don't know how to work a teleprompter. There's a thing on here, and I don't even use it for StreamYard. We actually have a teleprompter thing that they put in there where I could put in what exactly it is I want to say, and they have the speeds that you can put it through. That you can automatically set it that you put it at the speed in which you know how you could read off the teleprompter. Y'all can't see it. I will see it on my side. But my thing is this: my brain is good enough at this point where I could just improvise and freestyle off of the dome, which is what I do. I know maybe it seemed like I read from a script, but I remember it up here, and so I just recite it and I change it up a little bit just to fit my personality. But to me, it's like she's an actress. What else you gonna do? You know, a lot of these people can't vary with or have an actual personality or vary from the script that's in front of them, and then it makes you look bad. Or you know what? I'm not going to windmill on her too much because my thing is some people need scripts, but also bullet points. Like if you want to be somebody like that, like for me that would work. Like a whole script thing, I was like, I don't want to sit up here and just have to memorize a freaking script. Give me bullet points, talking points, whatever. I could pretty much just freestyle. Oh yeah, I remember I got to talk about this, and I can just immediately it just comes to me, and I just spew it out that way. So you know, everybody's got different gifts. But one person said it's entertainment, and she has too much money to just improvise. What the fuck they got to do with anything? Like your money situation have nothing to do with the fact that you out here, not able to come off the dome with some stuff. Or maybe she, you know, some people out here they just lack the personality to come up with stuff off the top of my head. But if you got that wherewithal and just be up there and funny and be yourself, then that should be the thing that matters. But here's the thing. Yennefer's got a great body. She looks good at her age. She's what, 56? I'm not gonna say for her age because I always feel like that's a backhand compliment. At her age, she's worked hard to look that good. She worked, you know, to keep in shape, going to the surgeon, getting the face, you know, chiseled a little bit because you know she do got a new nose. We're not gonna sit there and try to act like that nose is the one she was that came out of Guadalupe when she was born. And speaking of which, I've seen Guadalupe up in there damn near breaking a hip in the audience with all that shaking she was doing during Get Right. The videos is all over TikTok and all over, you know, social media if you want to see it. But anyway, to get into the rest of the article, they said Lopez's new residency is her first since her last record breaking residency. For Lopez, All I Have at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino, which ran from 2016 to 2018 with 120 shows that grossed over 100 million. Up All Night will run 3 more performances from December. Okay, they got the dates in here from December 31st to January 3rd. So yesterday was the last day for that. And then we'll include an additional 8 shows in March 2026 at the Coliseum at Caesar's Palace. So far, the spectacle includes what the global superstar is known for, and that's a lot of glitz and glamour and booty shaking. Now, for one of the performances, Lopez wears an old Hollywood like baby pink feather robe and gown, as well as coordinating low plunging corset. She also wears a leggy bedazzled bodysuit inspired by men's tuxedo. Oh, yeah, that was a cute outfit. I did like a lot of the looks and stuff they had in here. Wait, hold on. Let me pull up some of them looks for y'all. Because I did have a carousel of them. It's funny, I'm thinking about all this at the last minute. Excuse me. Okay, hold on. Let me pull this up for y'all to see. In case you haven't seen the pictures. Um, so yeah, there's one here where she's on what is that, a piano or whatever the case? Well, she's on something. That's a cute outfit. Then she has the outfit here. And then this is giving very much Kiss of the Spider Woman inspired. I know some people saying that first of all, she there's no song in her catalog requires her to even make that kind of face while she's singing. Look at me with the shade. I can't help it. And so yeah, there was that. And then there's a bunch of other photos and stuff that they have as well. Where I wish I had the tuxedo look in here. When you go to a lot of the TikToks, was like, let me see if I see it up in here. No, I see tight ass Perez Hilton. Oh yeah, I got it. It's this one. I'm gonna try to see if I'm probably gonna have to mute it because if there's any music, I don't want any kind of copyright stuff. Okay, so it's this one, and let's see if they get a close up. That's a little too far away. Y'all don't know how to zoom in with y'all cameras. Why is I giving Beady Beady Bum Bum Selena Tease? Wait, is this even the one? Did I hit the right one? I could have sworn I hit this one. And it's not giving me that. First of all, this video is horrible because it's like it's so damn far away. But anyway, y'all get the gist. Or if I could probably just do it better off this way, if you look in the corner, you can pretty much see it. This one, you see it, you see it, you see it, you see it. That one. The one that's moving visually, there it is, the outfit, the tuxedo outfit. I do like the tuxedo outfit. It's cute. And my thing is this, if Jennifer is on a stage, if I was at her age or whatever the case is, and I'm doing all that shaking and dancing and you're moving around, what am I supposed to wear? A burqa? Am I supposed to wear a Mrs. Roper? What they call those? I call them a muumuu. Like, what you want her up there, like, in, like, a gown or whatever, something like, she's a mover, she's a dancer, and one of the things is, look, I know we say a whole lot about her singing or whatever, nobody goes to a Jennifer Lopez concert tear her belt like Celine Dion, and that's another thing I'm a windmill on some of y'all about, because I had to get on somebody about this, where they were like, um, they said Mary J. Blige can't sing, and they're trying to compare her to, like, the Aretha Franklin's and the Shaka Khan, like those powerhouse or Celine or Whitney or whatever. And I'm like, that's not Mary. Mary's pain is what got a lot of people through a lot of music. We feel what she's singing. It's not always about that you have to be at the level of a Mariah or a Whitney or a Celine in order to be considered a singer. If that's what you're thinking is the epitome of vocals, then I just feel like your reach and your idea of music is limited. Jennifer has her strengths. She gives you performance. She's a pop star. She's a showgirl. That's what people like about her. And that's what people go to see her for. They're not there to see her belt like she's Celine Dion. We know that she ain't got the range for that. Quiet as it's kept, neither does Alicia Keys. And there's been many a situations when I was at the Garden and there'd be people covering Alicia songs. I'm like, why everybody that come in here and cover an Alicia song sing Alicia better than Alicia? Because for years you've been writing your songs to be singing in a register that your voice can't even get to, and ain't been able to get there since you released Song in a Minor. So I don't understand all of that, but a lot of times the more you perform and the older you get, you live and you learn. It's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have wrote that song in that key. And you got to change things up. Because, like, yeah, my voice can't go there no more. I'm older. And the voice changes as you mature and as you get older. But anyway, so that'll be probably the one time y'all gonna hear me defend Jennifer Lopez. I understand the package of what she gives. I just wish she understood it. Because, like I says, you be trying to jump in this whole ballad situation. It's like, girl, that's not your strength. Stick to the dance music, stick to the pop stuff, stick to the songs that have beats that can cover up your limitations. Let the backing track be louder than your actual singing voice, and you just get up there and shake your behind for 2 hours. That's what the girls live for. And it also goes to show that, yeah, while you probably do well overseas and doing the shows that you was doing there, and while you do well with the residency, that seems to be where people in America want to see you. They want to see you do the residency stuff. They don't want to see you out here doing traveling around the United States. I guess that fandom ain't there no more. But doing a little residency in Vegas, and once they build this casino out in across from City Field, that'll be a new hot spot that they can start getting big names to do shows there. Because I'm sure that, well, my union is getting in on that. No shade and no tea, but I'm just saying, like, the word I've heard is that we're getting in on that. So once that casino and stuff is built, I could be working there. And in the casinos, they do have theaters that they put in there, so it would make sense they can get more celebrities to perform and do residencies or whatever type of show they're gonna do in Queens. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards of Jennifer Lopez clapping back at y'all for hating on her because she's like, look, if you had my body and you worked hard for to this figure that, you know, you too be walking around naked. And my thing is, if you got a great body, regardless of the age, why do you have to cover up? Why not show it off? And she's an art. She's not like your regular schmegler. And first of all, I've seen many older women in New York City who are fine as hell that walk around showing off their figures. And if you got it, I say flaunt it. Fuck these haters. They just mad because they can't see their genital over their stomach. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Cause shit, when I hope to get her age, I want to be walking around, with my youthful figure and still want, wearing crop tops and booty shorts. No, I ain't gonna be dressing like that. But it's just look, if you got the body, wear it. Don't listen to these hating assholes. Okay, so we got some bad news, unfortunately. This tea regarding we have a second Finding Prince Charming um contestant who apparently has passed away. His name was Jasen Kaplan. I've been sitting here trying to really remember a lot of these people, but it's been so long since I've seen Finding Prince Charming. I don't remember half the people that was on there. I do remember the last guy that we had because we did speak like way back in the day. But um unfortunately, Jasen Kaplan is the second person from Finding Prince Charming to unalive themselves. So authorities listed Kaplan's blunt impacted injuries of torso and extremities as the cause of his death. Sources also told the outlet that the injuries were consistent with a fall from height. So apparently he jumped. So and he was 46 years old, and he's a popular makeup artist within Holly, the industry. And this is according to TMZ, so they spilled this. Now, sources they said the New York City Medical Examiner's Office did not immediately respond to Page Six's request for comment. Sources previously told Page Six Kaplan died. Um, in a New York City hospital just hours before the ball dropped on Times Square in Times Square December 31st. He was 46 years old. So you thought you was gonna ring in the new year by jumping to your death? That's crazy. So quickly, Hollywood began to mourn the devastating loss of the makeup artist who was known to work closely with Bethany Frankel, Tinsley Mortimer, Lydia Hurst, and Kelly Osbourne. He was a great artist and a sweet guy, a longtime friend told Page Six of Kaplan. When people started working with him, they often stayed with him for years. He really was important to a lot of people, said one. Some of his clients had been with him more than 20 years. They're going to take it very hard. Now, Kaplan earned his claim to fame as an artist when he worked with Brittany and Lisa Gastineau on their 2005 show Gastineau Girls. Along with Osbourne and Frankel, Kaplan was known as a go-to makeup artist for stars including Eva Longoria, Linda Carter, and Cyndi Lauper. Kaplan also starred as a contestant, as was brought up, on Finding Prince Charming, a homosexual bachelor-style dating show produced by Lance Bass for Logo in 2016, 10 years ago. Now, Kaplan marks a second loss in connection with the Finding Prince Charming franchise. Another contestant, as we talked about, Chad Spodek, died last month of also unaliving himself. And that was according to People magazine. So I don't know what's going on with a lot of these contestants over there at Finding Prince Charming. I don't know if there's kind of a coincidence, but mental health is a serious thing. And check in on your weak friends, check in on your strong friends, because even some of us who got it together, a lot of times we put on a united front, but a lot of times we don't have it together. I don't even include myself in that. There's times where it's just like I try to excuse me, I try to hold it together in a lot of situations, but I ain't never come no moment where I thought about taking my own life. But it's just like, I don't always have the ability to hold it together at a lot of times. So just checking on your weak friends and your strong friends because you never know what they're going through. Even those who by perception make it seem like by appearance purposes that they have it together. So Jasen, RIP, hopefully you got the peace that you want or that you wanted. I don't always feel like taking your own life is the answer, but if that was the only option that you had at the time, then um it's sad to hear that. So yeah, that's all I got to say on that. So I definitely want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think of this story? There's sad news in the era of Finding Prince Charming, and the gays out here just taking their own lives and stuff. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Madonna won't do Vegas, but I definitely see her being asked to do that New York casino. I could definitely see her do because that'd be something different. She'd have to come out the Queens, but they really are fixing up that whole area. It's like we got City Field, of course, for the baseball stadium. Then they're building a bunch of stuff over there. I've noticed. They're also building a casino, and then they're gonna be also building a soccer stadium. So it's gonna be crazy busy over there. She doesn't have the best vocals, but when it comes to dancing, face, and body card, and that's why I said that's what they love. We love the drama of it all. She's gonna give you glamour. She's gonna give you fierceness. She's gonna give you face, face, face. I give face, beauty, face. She's gonna give you all that. And that's what the people want. They want fierce costumes. They want choreography. They want, the hair blowing in the wind. She's still working with nappy tabs because I don't know anybody else who is. And then, that's what she's giving, and that's what people go for. They're not going for powerhouse vocals. All right, y'all. So now, all right, let's get into our sort of final topic because I'm splitting it in two because it's a lot that we got to talk about in regards to the Cardi B thing, and Drag Race. Let's get into some Drag Race news. So I'm sure y'all probably all saw it by now. Drag Race came and went. It aired on Friday. It was a good episode. I thoroughly enjoyed this recent premiere. It was one of the strongest premieres we had in a long time. I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed the fact that and it's no shade, but I'm glad that we didn't do the whole split episode where it's like, oh, we get 7 in this episode and we gotta wait till next week for the next 7. Because I always feel like this, regardless of how you slice it, putting all the girls together, the way that they're gonna split it, like you have to find a way to stand out amongst your peers. And this is a strong season of girls, I will say. A lot of the queens on here got a lot of personality. I'm living for it. I love also the fact that a lot of the queens on here are older and we don't have necessarily TikTok inspired queens doing the show this season. A lot of them have been like, yeah, I've been doing it for 12 years. I've been doing it for 15 years. So that's awesome. And they're over 30. So, because I remember I can't remember who it was, but I remember I posted a TikTok on my social media. I don't think I played it here, where there was a queen that was like, can we get some season queens? Like, we definitely missed that. So I love the idea we have that. With the whole situation. Now, regardless of like the talent show, I did kind of miss that. I was hoping they were going to bring that back, but no. Instead, we got a fashion challenge. So, yeah. Number one, I like the fact that the queens feel seasoned and established. Now, how they navigate through the world of Drag Race versus the art of drag, that's TBD. But we're gonna stick it out. Now, I do like the idea of the classic formula that they did also with the return to the classic formula, meaning they're not a mandatory meeting, which some of y'all said there's a certain queen on the show that looks like a mandatory meeting. Was it DD Fuego? I'm like, y'all not gonna sit up here and say DD Fuego looks like a mandatory meeting, which I did cackle at that. But I was like, damn, now I can't unsee it. But then I also followed it up with pre or post op. If you know what I'm saying, I think you do. Now, they had that photo shoot thing that they did, the mini challenge. I don't like that. The screaming, and they had the guys coming in. It was giving very much Lady Gaga abracadabra inspired. I still do not, I still have an issue with the pit crew, whatever the case is. Can't afford shoes. Like, why y'all got these people in here barefoot? Because God forbid somebody get something, get a tetanus shot or whatever. I just can't. But also, what's another thing I didn't like? I didn't like the whole dark thing where they had them coming in the room. I mean, I saw that when I did the red carpet thing, where we saw like their entrances followed by they were in the dark workroom. The entrance looks, and then it was the light that they had shining on them. The interrogation light is what I'm gonna call it. And then it was followed by T.S. Madison and Mark Maron from Variety introducing each queen to the stage. I didn't like that. And I also didn't like when I finally got to see the episode, how they pretty much did that whole let there be light thing. And then the Bob and Raja, who was that Asian queen that was on the end? I didn't even recognize who the hell that was. But the 3 queens of them riding the bike and trying to turn the lights on or something. I just like, what is the point of this? Like, if y'all were trying to go somewhere with it, but I don't feel like they executed it well enough. It just went nowhere. It was stupid. It wasn't just an excuse to bring back some of the winners. Was that Nymphia on the end? I don't know. I mean, if you ain't wearing a banana, I'm not gonna know if it's you, because that seemed to be her go-to gimmick. I mean, she wore a banana dress to the damn premiere. So, but yeah, this episode definitely gave me the golden era of Drag Race, like seasons 4, 5, and 6, where it was just kind of like the girls were catching up or cutting up and reading each other down. Like, I definitely loved that vibe with a lot of the queen, and there was a lot of shade being thrown, especially between Briar Blush, which I don't know if people are gonna like her on the show. And Athena, where her and Briar were going at it, I was living. But Briar, don't come up in there with the shade because this is how the fandom is gonna start. They mess on social media and I don't like that. They're gonna be mean or whatever. It's like, can y'all just watch the show and just take it as it is and just be entertained by the shenanigans? Don't go on social media and start bullying the queens and all that other stuff. So and like I said before, I love the fact these queens got personality and how they already know who they are when they walk through the door. It's like in the past, we've always seen a lot of queens who um they have no sense of self or know who they are as a queen, and they're always like these diamonds in the rough that eventually find, that eventually find their groove. It's kind of like Tu Wong Fu, where uh Chi comes in as nothing more than a boy in a dress, and then she eventually evolves into this fierce drag queen. I'm glad we're not getting that. These girls are very much self-assured. They know who they are. They are seasoned. They've been doing it for a long time, and I'm here for it. So, um, let's get into the actual situation that happened. So, they did their first little mini challenge, whatever, which I was not surprised that you know, said I gotta say remember everybody's goddamn name. Can you please a big ass mouth? Because the big girls, they always be out here screaming. Can you please a? Of course, won the mini challenge. I'm like, well, yeah, because that loud ass mouth of hers, of course she was gonna win it, and it was well deserved. So then we get into the maxi challenge where they had to basically turn the tragical into the magical, where they had to rummage through materials from past seasons and make outfits about it. And of course, Ornation made an appearance. Well, they ain't the first or the last time Ornation gonna make an appearance because y'all probably already know by now that what the hell's her name? That Vivacious is gonna be on All Stars 11. I'm sure y'all probably already know that by now. So with all that being said, then Discord claimed a box of black items and animal prints, which then we saw her outfit and then we saw that runway walk, and the outfit was cute. The runway walk was a choice. I'm like, what is that? Like, why is she walking like a cross between Andy Cohen and a galloping horse? Like, it was just like, that was not a pump. Like, across the road. It's like, you got to work on that, sis. And the fact of the matter that Rue was cackling while Michelle was reading her, whispering, it was a whisper read on the walk, was hilarious. So, and then Nene, who actually liked her look, and I know there were some people that were hating Discord on her look that was inspired by Lala Ree. And then Kenya, she didn't pick up any fabrics. And then we saw what that turned out to be. We got the pictures. We're going to get into that in a second. But then also I found it funny because Kenya Pleaser also forgot to pick up fabric for her outfit. I was picking up all this stuff and I forgot to pick up clothes. Another thing that I wanted to bring up too, that I've noticed, like, why somebody got a lot of Florida girls on this season? So that was relatively interesting. We got like a lot of Florida queens up on here, so there might be a Florida alliance. That I don't know if anybody from Florida will win. I could definitely see based off the seasoning of it all. That do y'all think that Athena could be the Sasha Colby of the season, like the way that they're setting it? Because she's been around for a long time. She's got drag daughters and she's got a drag granddaughter and a drag auntie that is that is on the show. And so you have a mother granddaughter, because she's gonna say mother daughter. It's like child. If she is the child of a different Dion, then you're not the mother. You're the grandmother. So and then they brought up the whole Mykonos thing and what's her name? Uh Lindsay Lohan and all that mess. So now after they did the reclaim, renew, rejoice runway category, hold on. Let me bring up this picture because we was up in here talking about this other stuff. Can we talk about RuPaul's runway look, which looks awfully familiar? And then I had to be reminded, Brooklyn Heights wore it first. So let me take this out for a second, the comments, because y'all gotta see the whole thing. Oh wait, I gotta take this other thing out too. The banner. So if you look at the bottom, Brooklyn wore a pump and Ru was wearing a boob. First of all, I understand Rue is 65 years old, but the dress made her look bloated. It added 10 extra pounds. When you look at Brooklyn Heights, it was giving couture. Rue wearing that ankle boot, it cut off her legs. I didn't like the fact that she was wearing the ankle boot with that. I thought maybe she should have wore a stiletto or something or another instead of an ankle boot. It just didn't look flattering on her. I understand you get inspired by trying to wear some with some of the younger queens and stuff. And I don't want to make this an ageist thing because in drag, if you wear it well, you could wear whatever you want regardless of the age. But it just the outfit was wearing Rue rather than Rue wearing the outfit, in my opinion. Let me put the banner back. And let me put the so yeah, I was not necessarily feeling Rue's look on the runway at all. So yeah, so they did the reclaim, renew, rejoice runway category, and let's get into my overall thoughts in regards of my overall thoughts on the looks. Now, the same looks, in my opinion, I would say Athena Dion, I did like her look. Discord Adams, her look was safe, no shade. I just did not feel like that she was giving full on, like she really pushed herself. I love when these girls come in. Oh yeah, I am the delusional. Well, she was giving delusion. She was giving Q delusions during that. So I'm like, damn, already? Or this too early in the show for the delusions? Like the Q delusions, I'll say, because that's the one. Q, Lucy LaDuca, pick one. So she thought I was gonna be in the top. I'm like, yeah, the outfit is cute, but I feel like if you're gonna come out and do this aesthetic that we know of Discord Adams from seeing her fashions, she should have been someone who really pushed that look. And I just feel like the look did give safe. It didn't really push the boundaries of what we feel like, okay, you really need to give me a little more. But I felt like you held back and you thought you could just throw something together, and because you design your stuff, that was gonna get you kudos. And no, it didn't. So, I had to take notes and stuff. So of course I'm going to have to go through those. And then yeah, I already made a comment about Discord Adams' horrible ass walk. Sierra Miss Avatar meets Mystique alien look. I thought that was cute in regards of a comic book cosplay challenge, but I wasn't completely sold on that whole situation. I was like the alpha. There was parts of it I liked, parts of it I didn't like. I love the hair and I love the makeup and I love the crown. So I love that. Now, those are the saves. To make sure I got all my saves. Yeah, so those are my saves. Now, in regards to the best looks, Nene Coco with the gift bags that was inspired by Lala Ree. Yeah, there were some imperfections on the side where you could see a little bit of her ass, and there was a little imperfection there. But overall, the construction of it all, because that was her background as an engineer. Like I remember hearing like a lot of times, especially if you watch Project Runway, you hear like designers go, "Oh yeah, I have an engineering background, whatever," and that goes into the construction of the designs and all the other stuff. So I remembered hearing that from Project Runway. So that's why I like that about the overall look of uh Nene's look. I like the look. Whether how they was feeling about it, particularly Discord. I love the look. I love the design. I love the fact that she was able to make something relatively interesting. And I think that's what it was. It was the overall um architectural design of it all is why they voted for it in the top, in my opinion, or it could have been a producer's choice, but I thought it was a relatively solid look. Then we had Jane Don't with the shower curtain bodice, skirt, and jacket. I was definitely living for that. I mean, the color was kind of crazy, but um, I'm not mad at it. It's like drag queens wear loud colors, so wasn't that bothered by the whole situation. So I didn't, so it was cute. I definitely thought Jane Don't's, I own 51% of this company outfit definitely worked. And it was made out of shower curtains. It's not easy to do all of that with the situation. Mia Starr, who I want to call the Tyreek Withers of drag. Um when I was looking at him, I was like, first of all, he's cute. Number two, so I wasn't kicking my bed. He definitely is my type. And then I was looking at him, I was like, why does he look like what actor does he look like? And he looks like Tyreek from him. And what was the other movie? Oh, I Know What You Did Last Summer. They look alike out of drag. I was also thinking the light skin one from Kid and Play. I was thinking that too. I like Mia Star's look, and Vita Von Teese stars My Fair Lady Meets Beetlejuice umbrella gown ensemble. I was living for that. So and then we got to get to the worst. So the worst would be Can You Please Her? I like the top, but the skirt was definitely a mess. And then I did not like Didi Fuego's baked potato wrapped in foil look. I hated that look. I was like, now the top part was cute. I thought that was well constructed, but then when she tried to drape it with that foil piece where it was trying to look like a gown, I guess was she the one that made the, or was it somebody else? You have to remind me because a lot goes on. I can't never remember. Um was she the one that did the whole thing about that was based off Alexi Love with the tarp? It was like it just didn't, that whole look didn't work for me in that whole situation. So what else? Oh, and then we had Darlene Mitchell. One word I got for her, proportionizing. So I hated that cornhole entrance look. And girl, you from New York. But then again, I always forget, like there's a lot of New York girls that are like good with the comedy, they're good with the performance aspect, but y'all looks be a choice. I don't think New York is relatively known for like pageant gowns and beads and things, unless you were in the ballroom scene and you were doing like what Pepper LaBeige and all of them was doing. But as far as like drag goes, New York City drag queens ain't necessarily known for their fashions, even though we are the fashion capital of the world. So yeah, I didn't like her cornhole entrance look, and I also hated her bedtime runway look. I just didn't like it. It just felt very similar to the entrance look, and I just didn't. I was like, girl, I can see your tuck. I can see your religion. I know you did a whole tuckation situation, but it just wasn't working for me. So there was that, and then we had Juicy Love Dion's blue swimsuit. I did like the part of the bustier part where it was draping in the background. I did love the flowy part. I hated the skirt, so I will agree with Michelle where she was like, maybe if you would have removed the skirt. Well, this is the part where I'm gonna say, if she would have removed the skirt, I believe she would have been more on the safe side. I don't think she would have been in the bottom. But that's just me. But that whole skirt with the thing, and then rely on the body. It's the first episode. You can get away with relying on the body in episode one, but if you're doing it episode two, three, four, five, then it's like, okay, man, we gotta have a talk. So I didn't like the I didn't love Juicy's swimsuit. Briar Brush, sorry, pink corset look, hated it. It made her look big on camera, kind of like with RuPaul in that belt outfit. It made her look bigger than what she is. And I've seen her in person because I told you I worked the red carpet. She's a lot smaller in person. So when you're on TV, it adds pounds to you. So I wasn't really liking that outfit. And then Mandy Mango, perfect. The who I like to call the Timu Nymphia win. I was not liking that outfit. The entrance look, it did give like costumey very much. Like she got that nurse outfit from the pleasure, what they call that? The pleasure principal, pleasure police, one of pleasure, the pleasure chest. I don't know why I couldn't think of the name of that place. The pleasure chest. It looked like that costume was giving very that. It was very spirit Halloween. I didn't like the entrance look. We get that you're a nurse in real life, but the outfit was just was a haggard mess. And so I didn't like that. Yes, she is giving me Timu Nymphia win teas on this season. I was like, wait, is Nymphia competing again? The bitch already won. Why are you coming back? So it was that. And then I did not like that bulky wicker basket dress and the over accessorizing of the flowers. You had that draping on. I'm like, okay, you are doing too much. Maybe she would have found something to cover the wicker basket part. It would have been a more sellable look, but personally I just did not like it. So then of course let's get into what else we got. So let's get into Cardi B as a judge. I loved Cardi B as a judge on this episode. I thought she did a phenomenal job. She definitely was using a lot of our vernacular, the tens and work and all the vernacular that us in the community use. There was a lot of that there. And the fact that she was honest about some of the looks, how she told me she hated it, that some of them need to work on their makeup or whatever case was, how she said that she um how to sell a look, which Juicy did do, and um, it was basically saying that the outfit was ugly, but she sold it. And then there was that, and then of course let's get into our top two. And she basically had to go in and say that, I'm a very tough judge. So she had to, when she went in the room and with the girls, whatever the case was, and had that conversation with them and brought in Tokyo Styles, the two T girls who do on her team of hair and makeup, which I actually love the fact that we have someone in the community. Well, Cardi does identify as bisexual, even though some people feel otherwise. I don't think she's going to phone it and be phony about it like that other girl, the one who has that fandom with Barbie dolls, and say that they're bisexual, but you ain't never seen her out here messing with no girls. But Cardi is from the stripper world. They do all kinds of shit with each other. So I don't put nothing past Miss Bell Callis on who she be out here messing with. So what was it, Erica LaPearl and Tokyo Styles. I don't know why I can remember the other girl's name. So yeah, when them going in the untucked room and having a conversation with the girls, I definitely love that. And the fact that how Tokyo was like, yeah, I got into doing makeup and all that stuff because of Drag Race. And you seem to forget. I'm like, damn, you forget that this show has been on for like what, 18 seasons, possibly 19 years or 17 years. Notwithstanding, so when you're thinking about that, you forget how long this show has been on and how impactful it's been for a lot of people and inspirational. And that, yeah, a lot of people get into drag, or not even just drag, they do makeup, they get into the makeup artist scene, or they get in their hair, doing hair design or whatever the case is, because they watch Drag Race and they bring a lot of that ballroom culture, or they bring a lot of that drag culture into a lot of those cis spaces, which I did agree. I was 100% on board with what Cardi had to say in regards to that. And she was like, yeah, that she don't care what anybody thinks. She goes around with her entourage, her her glam squad of trans women be with her whenever she's traveling or going wherever, doing whatever. And she said the men be looking. I'm not gonna spill no tea, but the men be looking. I was like, oh, trust. We know the men get with the dolls. We've heard many of the stories, be it from T.S. Madison, trans girls I know, and the stories that a lot of people tell us, like, yeah, the men are visual creatures. They're gonna look at someone, and if you look like a woman, but then you so happen to have a little something extra between me down there, the men gonna get with it. So, yeah, can you please? She got read down to the floor, and I did cackle. By Cardi, where she was talking about, yeah, that outfit was ugly and the makeup was, and it was like she should have changed the hair and all this other stuff. And then we have our top queens, which was Nene and Vita, which I was living for, and that lip sync was everything. And that was just like, I know a lot of people were shocked that Nene Fuego ate up in the lip sync. Now I will say this: what I was hoping, because I was like, now I got to go back to my notes because I'll be forgetting broads' names and things. Um, who was it? Did I say? Oh wait, I'm looking at my safe stuff now. Nene Coco, I definitely thought cute, whatever. I would have liked to have seen Jane Don't, to be honest, and Vita go up head to head with each other. But I understand for production narrative stuff, because of what Discord and all the other girls were pretty much discounting or counting out Nene. The fact that y'all had her win the first challenge to start conflict with the girls, and the fact that Discord was so upset that she was placed safe that she had to get reassurance from Cardi B, being like, so, did you like my look? Would you wear my look? And then they had to rewind back and say, like, and she was like, well, if she said that she would wear Nene out or whatever the case, I would kill myself. When I'm a girl, but you better get that rope, because she said that she basically liked Nene's look. She said, I would wear that. And so I'm sure when she watched that episode on Friday, Discord gagged. So yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Oh yeah, we got to talk about the lip sync. So the lip sync to Cardi's Enough track, which that one was everything. And watching drag queens perform to that, and the fact that people were gagged and gooped, because I sure was, that Nene ate that lip sync down. To me, I felt like Vita wasn't playing to the camera. And you have to realize this: when you are doing a show like Drag Race, you have to play to the judges, you have to play to the camera, you have to play to the front of the room. So it's like the cameras have to be able to capture all of that, the emoting, the fact that you know the lyrics, you got to move with the music, you got to do all of that. And to me, I felt that Nene gave that. Vita did not. So I was not surprised that Nina won that lip sync. And so far, so good. I feel like the show is definitely starting off strong. I don't like it because I did get like a sneak peek of like all the episodes that's to come because I watched Drag Race on Philo. They bringing back RuPaul's Drag Race Live. I don't know why y'all keep doing an SNL equivalent of Drag Race. It is not funny. It's annoying. I hate it. But y'all keep doing these episodes. Next week, what are the... Oh, speaking of which, you want to know something? Speaking of Brooklyn Heights, when we brought up that thing, I think RuPaul's Drag Race needs to take a page out of the Brooklyn Heights handbook. In regards, can we get a golden beaver or some kind of twist or something over there? Because here's the thing. I love one of the things that has drawn me into this, and y'all know I was not a big Canada's Drag Race fan in the beginning, but it wasn't until y'all had on my Linda Verga that season, that's what pulled me in. And then y'all started doing the whole golden beaver thing. I like the idea of like we have a queen who wins a challenge, and they got to choose between the three of the queens in the bottom, which one you will save, and then you have the lip sync for your life. We need something interesting to happen on this show when you have the girls kind of do that whole thing. Like, I love this idea of the whole Golden Beaver thing. Why not do something like that for America or something similar for the US version? Because we definitely need a shakeup over there. The whole usual thing that y'all be doing with the double episode and y'all don't eliminate people in the first episode. We already know that. Y'all haven't eliminated somebody since what, in the last 6 seasons. A pork chop in the first episode. So y'all haven't done that in a long time. So that's not shocking anymore. We need y'all to shake the table. If you want to get people to come in and watch Drag Race. I mean, Onyx, friend of the show, has talked about that this season, him seeing that first 10 minutes got him interested in wanting to rewatch Drag Race because he wasn't all that excited. And you want to get people excited over the show, I think y'all definitely need to bring that up in here. So congratulations to the queens. Nobody went home this week. We'll find out on Friday, on the 9th, my mother's birthday, actually. Who sachets away, who's gonna be the pork chop of season 18. So with all that being said, I definitely want to hear from y'all what you guys think of this story in regards of, did you see the premiere of Drag Race? What did you think of some of the looks? What did you think of some of the queens? Do you have a favorite yet? Do you not have a favorite? I mean, I don't know if I have a favorite. You already know I already mentioned what's her name? Maya Star, his cute self. I like Athena. um Yeah, I don't have any real favorites yet. I need to get to know the queen. By episode 3 or 4, I already have all the queens down. I'll be able to see and understand people's personalities, and I'll have the people that I like, and I'll have the people that I'll just be working my root canal nerve until this season's over. So I definitely want to hear from y'all regarding all of this tea. So without further ado, let me know them comments down in the comment section below. All right. Let's see where we are with the comments. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. My 5 standouts that I gravitated towards this season so far: Athena Dion, Vita Von T, Star, Sierra Miss, Darlene Mitchell, and Juicy Lovely. Yeah, I like a lot of cutie. I would definitely hit that. Um Dita Von T, Star, I'm definitely living for her. Sierra Miss, I loved Sierra Miss's overall aesthetic. I fell in love with, I don't even know who Sierra Miss was until like when she came on the red carpet. And I remember it was before she got on the red carpet, her and T.S. Madison was on the side and they wound up taking like photos where that's the one I got a picture of them too. If you looked on my social medias, a picture of Sierra and T.S. on the side before they got to that tiny ass carpet. That was the thing that irritated me about Drag Race too. You had this much space for the girls to stand there to get their photos taken by the 5 different photographers, but you had all this runway space for Variety and them and all these other company and associated press. You had all this space for them, but this much space for the for photographers, which was annoying. And I know that some of the photographers, because they said it to me, I ain't gonna tell you which one, because I'll rely on the sword. I don't give a damn. They were like, they're just so happy to just be here, and they could just hire their own people and take that. That would require them to spend money, so that's not gonna happen. And in the words of, it was a cute setup, but I was like, but in regards of what Gia Gunn said, was there no budget this time around? So it definitely gave that. It was a cute setup. It was just they didn't really give effort into the photographers, and they didn't think that all the way through because there was barely space for the girls to get their photos. Because in addition to them getting the photos, you had the cameras and everything right there, and they had to do their interviews. So how do you take photos? And I was able to make it work for me when I was taking my photos, and then all the other photographers were taking theirs. You figure out how to angle things and crop and do all of this stuff. So I had to do a whole lot of sorcery to get them. And luckily, people were saying that they liked them. So there was that. But yeah, Mia Starr definitely like them. And Sarah Miss, what I was trying to get to in regards to that, when she did her Ivan Ooze inspired drag runway look, I was living for that. I mean, red carpet look for the drag race thing, I was living for that look. So I like the whole idea of referencing things and then putting your own twist on it. And that's when TS kept saying, "It's the ooze. It's the secret of the ooze." So she kept saying that while they was doing the. It was funny, but anyway. So they said, "I would say Athena is no way in a similar caliber as Sasha. Therefore, before Sasha went on Drag Race, she was probably the most famous queen that had not been on the show yet. Everyone knew she was going to win. Yeah, but I was saying in the sense of people are also in the drag world. She's not as well known as Sasha Colby because Sasha Colby was a big name before she got on the show. But Athena was known also, but not to the caliber of like a Sasha Cole, if that makes sense. She's known in a lot of drag circles. And sidebar, I can't wait to see Roscoe's because I already seen a lot of the clips and stuff on TikTok regarding Willem and Mistress. And I was like, wait a minute, I totally forgot that Willem and Mistress had a beef. And they had them come on the show together. And Mistress addressed it. But I'm looking forward to seeing the episode when it finally drops on Monday or whatever. I'm not paying no damn $2. So I took a whole uncensored whatever. And he said, and Sasha probably didn't even ever want to compete on the show until Kerry embarrassed her by being an early out. Ooh. So you think that she decided to do the show because she was like Kerry Colby got out first, and what you're not gonna do is embarrass the house of Colby. So now I got to show you bitches how it's done. A Miami icon and a Mykonos because she had to let us know about Mykonos too. So, she's popular in Mykonos as well. How do you got Florida and Greece? He said it's funny how some people are saying some queens look like Pat. Yeah, they do. Yeah, we said that it was like Didi Frigga looks like a mandatory meeting. I love Nini's look the most out of everyone else's. The worst look for me was Miss Pleasure. Not please a principal. Yeah, Kelly Please was a mess. I was like, girl, how'd you forget, as big as you are, to get fabric of all things? Because that skirt was I'm like, what is that? Like you draped yourself in a loofah. They said, well, at least you can take it off and wipe your ass with it. And he said, I never heard this Cardi song before, and I liked it. I was kind of hoping they would play Wet and Gushy, but it's fine. No, I feel like that song is. They're probably like, oh, that's too inappropriate for TV. I love Cardi's look too, but it was giving very much high drama and very much drag. But it's fine. I also love the Powerpuff Girls ensemble and how they brought them with her. It's funny you said Powerpuff Girls. I heard this. I could have sworn somebody said something different, but it might be Powerpuff Girls. If you look like a woman, but so you happen to have something extra between you down, child. Between me down there. He said the golden beaver will probably always be gate kept to Canada, and CVST Irene got eliminated on the first. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. But um, they got to come up with something. We need some kind of interesting twist to make the queens kind of like just start this whole competition thing where it's like, okay, we got a winner and a winner. Like I got an idea for a drag show that in regards to the whole elimination situation. I ain't gonna say it because then somebody might steal it. I got to get the show off the ground first before that happens. So there's ways to get around it or to do something in that way because they definitely need that. All right, y'all. So now let's get into our final topic. And it's more drag race news. So we already talked about Cardi B coming on board to be the first guest judge of season. Why is this annoying ass clip? I'm trying to cut it out, but I don't know how to. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll just have to ignore it because it's on Out Magazine or whatever. So, Out Magazine did an article on RuPaul's Drag Race, that sort of thing, and they were basically talking about how she transcended expectations as a Drag Race judge. Now, some people were saying that she was more like the villain judge of the season, and I don't think she was necessarily the villain judge. She was just being very honest about, her critiques and all the other stuff. So I was definitely here for a lot of what she had to say in that situation. I was like, wait a minute, I forgot where I put. Oh yeah, I got it. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed what it was that she brought to the show. Now, of course, with that, they're gonna compare because these two don't like each other. But pick a list of broads that are in the hip hop game that Nikki don't get along with. We'll be here all night. But the biggest rivalry that she has is these two. So of course they're, the gay blogs or the gay social media or the homosexual social media, as we like to call it, are going to bring up the comparisons. So Cardi B's stint as a guest judge at the premiere of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 18 has already been solidified as one of the great pop star guest drag race premieres of all time, with the Grammy Award-winning rapper's genuine excitement and respect for Mama Ru's queendom and overall praise for queer and trans artists over the years being in full display at a time when beloved pop stars are taking a sharp turn towards the conservative right. It wasn't that foreign of a concept that Cardi, being out bisexual woman, would be an excellent drag race judge, a point that already stood on its own. Moreover, many fans of the show were familiar with the rapper's history of supporting drag artists and trans women, and therefore anticipated that this was bound to be a legendary legend episode of the show. But while the new season of Drag Race was promoted with footage of Cardi B's as episode one's extra special guest judge, having the time of her life, the Levitical Plus community was still coming to terms with months of controversial remarks from fellow female rapper Nicki Minaj, MAGA Minaj, who has been reposting transphobic views, agreeing with Elon Musk's views on trans youth, and even got called out by former collaborator Kim Petras for that rhetoric. Nearly 10 years after a feud was starting, with Minaj reportedly sharing insults about Cardi B's daughter, which we was up in here talking about, like, you don't want nobody to talk about your child. So how you out here talking about other people's kids? They say, here we all found ourselves again, as Minaj wrote that Cardi B's daughter was ugly and a vulture on social media posts from as recently as October 2025 via Vibe. Throughout November and December, Minaj continued arguing with Cardi B and others incessantly, even though Minaj has always been beloved by queer people and showed support for the Levitical plus community on a few occasions. She continued her descent into MAGA land by attending a conference hosted by widow Erica Kirk for Turning Point USA, an organization founded by her late husband, Charlie Kirk. Now, on Friday, January 2nd, Drag Race Season 18 premiered on MTV and showcased Cardi B as a fiercely supporting ally for trans women and drag artists. The rapper was a lovely, supportive, and hilarious judge who shared actual critiques without punching down or making anyone feel bad on their very first time ever walking the runway. The respect and admiration for Levitical Plus talent was then evidenced even further by a gag-worthy untucked moment, thankfully shown on the main episode. So yeah, we had that on the main episode, but also, I'm trying to remember, didn't Cardi come in during Untucked? I fell asleep during that point. So I'm like, I could have sworn she came in on Untucked. Remind me in the comments if she did. But I could have sworn that, oh wait, she did come in during the episode. And then I remember on Untucked, she did bring Tokyo Styles and Erica LaPearl in the workroom. They said, so yeah, for those who don't know, or probably do know from watching the episode, they're two trans women who have been on the rapper's glam squad for many years, who became famous in their own right. Because Tokyo Styles, remember, she had not a talk show, she had a show on WeTV, I believe. It used to come on right after the Braxtons. And so they were thrilled, and basically from what we saw, to be kikiing with the queens in the workroom. And so then they said, this is what she said, these are the dolls, while sitting alongside Styles and LaPearl. I can't live without them, literally. So, because who else is going to beat that face and make it look good but the trans girls? Since no shade, and this is no shade to her, but a lot of you girls are running out here getting bodies to be built like a trans woman. Might as well get your face beat by one and a wig put on top of your head and a lace front, designed by one. Now, Mikey Meeks, a 29-year-old contestant from Orlando, Florida, praised their work as queer art at its finest, telling Cardi B directly how meaningful it is to have an artist at your caliber incorporating our community into what you do. And said thank you, and said, and I learned a lot from your community. And this is what Cardi said. Now, I do think that it's great with the allies, and but look here, I gotta go with being devil's advocate. It comes a point where it's like, can we start putting our people at the forefront of stuff? Like, there shouldn't only be trans people or queer people in the background making a lot of you artists look good. A lot of us need to be at the forefront as well, because we're the movers and the shakers and the ones that's creating all the art. So why can't we showcase that? Why can't we have like an openly queer artist who's out here doing the same type of quality work that an ally is able to do? So there needs to be a lot of that. But I know like a lot of these executives, even though some of them get down with people in our community, are scared to get behind and support actual queer talent. So then Styles editor said, I remember when I first started my transition, this is how I learned how to do makeup, RuPaul's Drag Race. And then just seeing all the looks and stuff, it just always inspires me. Even here, I was like, we should do this and recreate this. You know, sometimes we bring the culture to the mainstream hip hop field. Well, that's not sometimes, child. If you really look at the epicenter of hip hop with like b-boying and breaking and a lot of stuff, a lot of those elements of hip hop comes from, it's similar to ballroom. So if you really look at the history of hip hop, whatever, queer art and things of that nature has always, in some sort of way, gone hand in hand with hip hop. If you really look into the history of it all, so even like with the DJing and stuff, and you know, with the club culture and all this stuff, and incorporating that. So a lot of that has always been in there in a lot of ways, especially, you know, when it comes to the art aspect. So yeah, they do incorporate a lot of that into the thing. It all goes hand in hand. So Cardi said, I don't care if people feel uncomfortable. Whatever I like, I do not care. I look right here because I've got my dolls. And the men be looking, and I'm not gonna spill tea. Now, the queens that laugh at that, and that's the dog, because I'm like, child, if you only knew. Um, and so it was cute that they came in and did the whole untucked thing. And I know some people going to say the things they want to say, but definitely, you know, I can always tell people being authentic or they full of shit. But I definitely felt that Cardi was being sincere and that sort of thing. She definitely loves the community. She definitely has respect for the community. And I know some people, but she's made homophobic and derogatory things. I'm like, she's petty like I am. If you say some crazy shit to me, I don't care if you trans, I don't care if you gay, I don't care if you homo, you know, any part of the LGBT or Levitical spectrum. I'm reading your ass down to the floor. I'm not sparing you because of your sexual orientation or your gender or your height. It's like, no, that's part of reading. Reading is we take a flaw that we look at from y'all and exploit it to the highest heavens of, I was gonna say the highest heavens of hell, but that would be an oxymoron because heaven and hell can't be one of the, I mean, I guess some people say it's one and the same. But yeah, it's like she kind of has that ballroom aesthetic, which is like, what the queers do is that, yeah, you come at us, we don't give a fuck. We're gonna read you down to the ground. Everything is um there's no off limit type situation. Same thing how Nikki was going out here making derogatory comments about Cardi's son. I mean Cardi's daughter, I mean. Cardi clapped back. But that's neither here nor there. But since they brought up and we talking about the whole Nicki Minaj situation, it is something that we got to bring up. And no shade, but I definitely feel like Cardi was a better judge. And this is not me coming from a biased situation, but looking back, because I did recently watch the one with Nicki, and she did what she did at that time. And you know, Heidi still don't like her ass because she went in. She was a little harsh with her critiques or whatever. Cardi definitely feels like she's a fan and she's coming from a genuine place. They even said during the show, she's like, "Can I come back and do the show weekly?" While that would be cute, I don't think they could afford you. So they said, given Cardi B's long-standing feud between MAGA Minaj, the somewhat recent rise of MAGA Minaj and fan favorite Queen Heidi in Closet. Funny, I didn't even read the article, and then I just bring it up, recalling the intensely negative critique she received from Minaj as a guest judge on Drag Race season 12. The timing of Cardi B as a Drag Race season 18 judge felt even more iconic than it would have already been, as expected. That parallel did spark some intense discourse between Drag Race fans, the Barbs, and the Barty gang. Oddly enough, the drag race tie-ins for these two rappers never really had much to do with their overall feud, except they now paint a very different picture as we ring in the new year on the heels of problematic statements for one side and genuine support from the other side. So before assuming that this is just another Nicki Minaj versus Cardi B feud, timeline reheating the same crunchy nachos that every other news outlet, celebrity-oriented social media page, and gossip blog has already covered extensively. We're here to assure you that it's not. Stick around to see. Well, they said stick around to see what we mean, and I guess they go through the whole history of the timeline and all that other stuff, which we don't need to go through all of that because it goes through the Nikki versus Heidi in Closet, and then her going on the boys be boys thing. When somebody tried to come up in my comments and play in my face, but that's not what she meant. Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. I've been telling y'all that. Don't play with me when it comes to the intelligence thing. What you're not going to do is insult my intelligence because you want to move the needle and you a damn groupie over there being a fan. Because I'm gonna cuss your ass out and I'm gonna block you. Which I didn't even do that at first, but then that child told me to go and get a real job, and I'm like, wait a minute, bitch, how you telling me to get a real job? A, I have a real job outside of this, and B, I get paid to do this YouTube thing monthly. What are you talking about, Willis? So get a real job, bitch. Maybe you need to go find you one. So anyway, I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Um, in regards to Cardi B's appearance, do you think, like, in regards of one of the main season premiere judges, because they always try to find a big name to come on board and do the guest judge season premiere thing, do you think that between Cardi and Nicki, I guess we're gonna have to do it. You team this one and team that one. They trying to make it like it should be that type of discourse, but in a way, you kind of played into that. Out. You can't sit there and say that that's not what y'all was doing. That's literally what y'all was doing. Um, did you like what Cardi brought in regards to, judging the girls on the season premiere? I definitely want to hear from you in regards of what your overall thoughts on their styles are. I'm not expecting them to be one and the same, but who did you prefer? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. All right. Oh yeah, I went too far up. Who was meaner premiere judge? Nikki was. I mean, Cardi, when she came in and was like, she was given harsh critique. She was like, "No, I'm a tough judge." And basically, when you break it on, and you have to realize, look, being on TV, and also you're going to deal with judging and stuff on TV shows or in regular pageants or whatever it is. You got to be prepared to have a thick skin. I'm not going to sit and sugarcoat stuff just because I'm worried about your feelings. I'm not going to be Simon Cowell mean, but I'm going to give you some tough critiques only because I want you to be better. This episode, it definitely was enjoyable and entertaining. I'm looking forward to next week's episode. But shit, y'all probably gonna make me want to turn on Drag Race and just to keep myself occupied, just watch some old episodes. I love when Briar was that read, and she was like, when she really got, when I guess she was really feeling it. I was like, well, damn, you can't throw shade and then tell someone how shady to be in the situation, because my shade is not gonna match yours. I'm gonna go above your shade. So when you coming at me with this shade, I'm coming up here, and you're just gonna have to match me. And Athena Gupta and Brian couldn't take it. What is that Gene Simmons helmet hair ensemble thing? I'm not even feeling it, but I'm like, okay, girl, if that's your look, then okay. If you like it, I love it. She said you wear less than me with more to cover. I remember he was saying you was a big girl, big girl. And the score walk made me think of that girl from America's Next Top Model. And Miss J says she looked like she was walking like a galloping horse. I said she walked like a cross between a galloping horse and Andy Cohen. Have you ever watched how Andy Cohen walked? He walks so damn funny. Not only does he stand like awkward, but he walks funny too. And it was a recent video that I saw. I don't remember where I saw it from. It might have been on you on in was it Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, one of them places. He was walking down the street and someone was like, why is he walking like it's like I don't know. He walks funny. He walks like his back hurt or the feet be heavy. But anyway, All right, y'all. So it looks like we're at the end of today's show, our first show of 2026 down. So be sure to tune in to future episodes. Chris Allen Unfiltered is still going to be, new year, same messiness. We'll elevate it a little bit with extra things. But yeah, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I want to thank you all for tuning in to this latest first episode of the season. I will be back on Tuesday. I have to work tomorrow, so I will not be able to do a Monday show, but I'll be back. That's why I did one on Sunday, because I was like, it's been a minute. But yeah, I'll be back on Tuesday with a brand new episode of more shenanigans and more mess. So definitely stay tuned for that. Love you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in as usual. And until next time, ciao, darlings.